Thanks for sticking with us here on FS2 as we are proudly brought to you by Claiborne Farm, 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. It's America's Day at the races, and what a glorious day for racing we have here in South Ozone Park. Queens track is fast as we have 9 horses going postward for today's 5th race at pick 4, kicking off 12.5 claimer going the mile on the main track. And Sarah, you like a bit of a long shot in here. Horse coming off a layoff.
Yes, and Tavo's just one that if he can get back to some of the races that we saw from him earlier on this year, especially over the spring, he's faced some pretty decent horses and sort of outrun his odds to hit the board behind them. And while his last race wasn't necessarily a good effort, you also saw the subsequent layoff, and now he drops in for a tag. And I think that he's just kind of an interesting wild card if he can get back to some of those races that we saw in the past.
Well, we will now welcome in the 3rd member of our team in a moment as horses going around theirs. We'll also discuss number 8, Hammer and Ammer, excuse me, who Rob Falcone will send out here, a 9-year-old. Sarah, this has got to be his last start at NYRA, as we do have that rule. Horses can't race here at 10 years old. Now, he was the beaten favorite last time out. Could you make the argument that, well, A, the pace held together, and B, maybe he moved a bit wide and a bit too soon?
I think that's fair. I think that maybe you're a little bit concerned because we did see a horse in Goldini kind of outclose him from a little bit further back, also getting a wide trip as well. And he was a horse that a couple starts ago, he was a big price, and he ran well to finish second behind Bold Victory, and then he ran well to finish second yet again with pretty much the same number, and then kind of disappoints as the favorite last time. So perhaps the horse to beat, but not quite sure what we're going to get.
Great name here with number 1, My Friend's Beer.
I agree. A horse that would need to improve a little bit off of his more recent races.
Reclaimed by Peter Walder, though, who finally got Refua to win a race. Co-conspirator just went by, make the jock Jose Gomez. Number 3, Forever Wicked, make the jock Andre Worry.
A horse that exits that same race we just took a look at, not really a factor in there.
There's your man, Centavo. Maybe a little break will do him well.
Perhaps, and a little bit of class relief as well. A horse that once was trying the Grade 2 Brooklyn's not quite facing that field today.
Will we see the speed again from Blake B? It resulted in a win last time.
Yeah, I like when this horse is more aggressively handled. He kind of has this pattern where he hits a career top and then sort of regresses after. So if that holds true, not today for him.
Long shot number 6, Prince of Joy.
Just another horse will need to show us something we haven't seen in a little while.
Breaking post parade is number 7, Goldini.
A horse that ran really well last time at a bit of a price to finish second in that race that we took a look at.
And there is number 8, Hammer and Ammer.
Horse that's in really good form right now. He hasn't quite gotten the job done, but he's been consistent over his last 3.
It'll be a 70th start as the blinkers go on. Number 9, Pit Boss.
A horse that is stretching back out in distance, which will likely suit him. Maybe could be a little bit more forward towards the outside, getting more ground to work with today.
Well, if you want to play along with all the action, make sure you head on over to NYRA.com/TV schedule to download your free Equibase PPs and get all the stats on the horses, trainers, and jocks. Only here on America's Day at the races. As now it is time, drum roll please, for the winningest jockey of this racetrack, Aqueduct, Richard Migliore, to join the program. And Mig, I know you have some thoughts on a horse coming off the back of a win in number 5, Blake B.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. He is favored right now, Maggie, and I'm a little bit surprised by that, but his last effort was very good, going the mile distance. He should be forward. He really caught my eye in the paddock because he's a horse that kind of walks with his head perpetually bowed. And I like those kind. Even as you know, Gallop and one that kind of bows their head on their own, you could put your hands in their neck and let them kind of work against themselves and makes you look good. He just really liked the way he was framed up on the walk, even in the paddock. The 7, Goldini, I'm surprised he didn't take a bit more money. I thought he was coming off a really good effort. I think the 1 1/8 maybe stretched him a little bit further than he wanted to go, and get him back to the mile certainly figures, and all of Rudy Rodriguez's horses are well turned out. The 9, Pit Boss, is going to be my top selection. I like him stretching back out to the mile. I think he's extremely well turned out, and I love how he's posted. You know, far outside in these 1-turn miles, 7 furlongs at Aqueduct, I think are always an advantage, and Pit Boss really checked all the boxes for me. He adds blinkers. He, comes out of a sharp-paced race. It went 45 and change. I think he gets a much different scenario today, and I think he gets in a very comfortable rhythm here. Just a brief note about the Four Centavo. I know, Sarah, you like this one. I don't know if this is in character or out of character for him, but he really kind of washed out a bit. He was really sweating down his neck, up over his top line. And I don't know, again, if that's just him. It isn't warm, but for, I guess, December in New York, it's a little warmer than normal, but he was the only horse that kind of really washed out, if you will, heading over to the starting gate.
Meg, from my notes, that is not in character for him, but usually an indication of a horse coming off of a layoff that needs a race. But not coming in off of a layoff in here, JK, as we welcome you into the show. We're rolling out new crew members here off the factory line. But number 7, Goldini, as Sarah mentioned, comes in off of a good effort for Rudy Rodriguez.
Yeah, but I thought he ran well enough that time, right? And it was Ruben Silvera's first time riding him in quite some time. I think maybe probably learned a little bit about him in that race, right? I think that kind of got going a little bit late, and it, to me, feels like one that, maybe with a better timed ride could have gotten a little bit closer last time. So, and the way that they're betting Blake B in here gives me even a little bit more confidence with someone like the 7 Goldini. He's got some consistent numbers, just kind of always around in the mix, and I'm hoping that he'll run a little bit better here. I just don't necessarily trust Blake B. I thought Blake B got an easy lead last time, and when horses get easy leads, I'm looking for horses that were trying to close into them. That's how I landed on the 7 Goldini.
Okay, you kind of missed the boat last time with Blake B, though we did take money in that effort, Sarah. But interesting, the 3 analysts not going with either of the favorites in him or Hammer and Hammer.
Hammer and Hammer is just a horse that he's lost at a short price twice now. And while he is in good form and running consistent races, I thought there were more interesting alternatives outside of him. So he certainly can win. And I feel as though everybody else probably feels that way, but at a short price, maybe one to try and beat. And the thing with Blake B, who is also a short price right now as well, is that he hits those 80 types of buyers, and then you don't see that kind of effort again in his subsequent start. So it seems like this is sort of a pattern for him where he'll go in second off a layoff or a little bit of a freshening, have this big race, and that was last time, and then kind of regress after that. So he's not really one that I wanted at a shorter price either.
And 2, I think, with Hammer and Hammer, and Lane Leslie, has ridden him well, but I think Manny Franco, the addition of him is kind of twofold where, Manny does tend to will these horses to win, but it also kind of drives your price down a bit on a horse that projected to take money anyway.
It does, and I don't think Lane Leslie has done anything wrong with him in his last couple of starts, but just in terms of which jockey is more experienced, which jockey are we more familiar with on this circuit, who has the overall career repertoire, it's understandable.
Yes, who looks to capture yet another NYRA year title, 4 number of wins. Manny Franco, your current meets leading rider, as they are heading into the gate, and we will welcome Chris Griffin to the show as he will bring you the call of race number 5.
The boss. Just hesitating. And in. All set. Pit boss. A little anxious. And they're off. Speed towards the inside here from My Friend's Beer. Pit boss broke very outward there. Is up in the early mix though. In between horses, here comes Prince of Joy. Prince of Joy is now joined by a heart-sent Co-Conspirator. So 2 big long shots there. Co-Conspirator with a nose in front of Prince of Joy, and they are well out into the center of the racetrack. Pit Boss is now straightened up, is tracking under a tight hold from 3rd. Goldini is going to sit right in behind the leading trio. They went 23.53 for the opening quarter mile. Down at the rail in tight is going to be Blake B, who's now in 5th. At the rail is My Friend's Beer, and then Hammer and Hammer, center of the racetrack in those red silks. Second to last is Centavo with the trailer. Forever Wicked. They work up the backstretch, they slow down the tempo. Down towards the inside, it's Co-Conspirator. To the outside, it's Prince of Joy. And a huge number is still a neck in front. Prince of Joy now turns up the pressure up front and is now kicked on. Pit Boss is stalking off of this pace setter. Co-Conspirator starts to drop out of it. Goldini is in the clear. So is Blake B. Here comes the run from My Friend's Beer, who has to switch around Co-Conspirator from the back, trying to run on. Centavo is there with a wide run, Hammer and Armor. The trailer, Forever Wicked. They approach a quarter mile left to go. 47-1, that half-mile time. And they are still chasing Prince of Joy at 63-1. Prince of Joy is still in front. Down towards the inside, Goldini is chasing. Pit Boss with every chance out in the center of the racetrack. Prince of Joy is still there. Blake B's got a late run. It's Prince of Joy still finding with a 16th to go. Prince of Joy, Elijah Greenridge is still in front. Prince of Joy, 63-1 to kick off the late pick 4. Prince of Joy gets it done. Centavo in a photo there with Pit Boss. Goldini finished 4th in 1 minute 37-3. Prince of Joy at 63-1.
Boom! Fireworks to kick off the show as Elijah Greenidge it got to the lead, was dueling early, but as you said early on, Sarah, they weren't going that fast, and Prince of Joy was able to last.
He was, and he put away anybody else that was right up and on the pace, like Co-Conspirator, who was a horse that was showing speed towards the inside. Pit Boss couldn't get by towards the outside. You have all 3 analyst selections in that photo for second, and Prince of Joy at 63-1 winning the race. So maybe the right idea to stay away from the favorites, but this is not the long shot that I could have possibly come up with.
A little tough at 63-1, to be fair. But trainer Ricardo Legal picks up his 2nd win of the meet in only 4 starters. So having a nice little meet for himself. And Elijah Greenidge getting the first win of the meet for himself as, wow, we're bringing some pretty hefty prices on the other side of this break. But also coming up, the first race we will bring to you on our program from Oak Lawn Park. Looking forward to it. We'll get into it on the other side of this break. Keep it tuned to America's Day at the Races.
Olympiad leads American Revolution. Olympiad gets the gold in the Jockey Club Gold Cup.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with NYRA Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with NYRA Bets.
Cyberknife was a very talented horse from day one. Fast horse, able to carry it around 2 turns. Looks a tremendous amount like Gunrunner, same ability and talent. Holds the track record in the Haskell. He won it in impressive fashion, beating a very good group of horses. Excited about him passing on his durability, his soundness, and his talent. He could definitely be a breed-shaping stallion.
Thanks for tuning into the program here on FS2, as well as those joining us on Valley, SoCal, and San Diego. We are brought to you by NYRA Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime, as you're checking out some iconic shots from downtown Hot Springs, legendary place known for the healing powers in the water. And I can tell you, Sarah, I don't know if it works, but it is very soothing.
I was going to say, I know that you've been to the spa.
If it creates, miracles, but I will say that it is nice to soak in those mineral waters.
Yeah, you got to have some good fun there last year, right?
It is fun.
Yeah, nice.
3 years running, I think. So kick off the post race for race number 4, maiden 75 mile to 16th with El Matador, second time out for Riley Mott.
Yeah, making the second start of his career, getting a little bit more distance to work with, a horse that didn't really do quite as much running first time out at Churchill, but was a little bit slow out of the gate.
Yeah, I thought the added ground should really help him. As a first-time starter is number 2, Silver Tone, not taking too much money.
No, not yet. This one, $92,000 Keeneland September yearling sale purchase, really dead on the board.
Redfield drops out of the Keeneland race won by Doorknock, our Remsen winner.
Certainly a horse that seems to have a bright future. This field maybe not quite the same level of quality as that one.
First time gelding, number 4, Money Shot.
A horse that switches back to the dirt after a turf attempt. Hasn't really shown much in his races so far.
Crusading for Steve Asmussen comes out of a fast race won by Nash.
Yeah, and earned a 61 Beyer speed figure for that effort. Has yet to hit the board, but has been running better numbers than others he's facing.
Here is a firster taking some money. Son of Constitution with a nice pedigree.
Yeah, the dam was decent. She run 4 of her 6 races, a dirt sprinting type, and makes a lot of sense for the Brad Cox barn.
But this is the favorite Cox runner in Charleston.
This one making his 3rd start, so has a little bit more experience and now gets to stretch out in distance as well.
That is your field for race number 4, but now it's time to actually head out to Oaklawn as we check in with our man on the scene, Paul LaDuca. And Paul, I know you're interested in starting out by talking about Charleston. Do you like him in this spot?
Well, it's a difficult. Oh, let me say hello, ladies. How you guys doing? By the way, big balloons over there at Aqueduct. The last time I saw you guys on Sunday, there was a $261,000 late pick 5 payout here. So prices have been coming abound here in America's Days at the races. Yeah, the 8 Charleston is interesting to me, obviously at 6-5. This is a horse that's had 2 starts. Brad started this horse at Keeneland in a maiden special weight. Went off at 7-1. You could say that's obviously a little chilly for Brad on the board, but the horse got away from the gate last and didn't really do much, kind of ran an even race, then came back and showed a little speed in his next start. But he's akin to 3 horses that were route winners, so you would think that he would like to go the route of ground. So, I actually picked the 5 here on top, Crusading, but the 2 Brad Cox runners are going to be tough in here. Charleston, I think, will be tough to beat. Revelation, the first-time starter, Son of Constitution. You don't realize that Constitution is 17% with his first-time starters. The Dam won 3 stakes, over $243,000. There's more pedigree maybe on the side of sprinting there, but man, I tell you what, sometimes we talk about the engine is a little bit bigger in the back in some horses. The engine on the 6 and the 8 were pretty big compared to the 5. So, like I said, I picked the 5 here. I also think the Riley Mott runner did look well. I'm not looking for anything outside the box. I just think the 5 for a price and Kristen Chora is sticking. But what I saw in the post parade, this could be a Cox parade here, 6-8 or 8-6, Mags.
I hear you, Folly. It's sometimes your opinion changes as soon as you see him, and those Brad Cox runners do tend to be well turned out. Sarah, you went with the first-time starter. I thought was very interesting. Has a great pedigree, but why being offered into maiden claim or first time out?
It's a question mark, right?
Yeah.
When you see these kinds of horses making their debuts in spots when you think they might be able to be competitive against maiden special weight company, and certainly a little bit of a red flag. But at the same time, Brad Cox just does so well in these types of races. He has a good double 1-2 punch in here, and I just went with the one that offers a little bit more small amount of value over his uncoupled stablemate towards the outside in Charleston, but no big problem with either of them. A horse that was working at Ellis earlier this year before heading over to Oaklawn, and Brad Cox has gotten off to a good start with his 2-year-olds at the meet.
And the one that has experience the one that doesn't have experience, Revelation, as you were mentioning, ridden by Martin Chawan, who has returned from Peru for his third stint in the States. And as he said, I've had a lot of success in my native country, but I'm here to win Grade 1s in North America. As horses are approaching the gate, we check in with JK.
Yeah, Max, I'll be quick here. I'm going to go with the 5 Crusading. I don't really believe in these Brad Cox runners. The one with experience, Charleston, hasn't done much running, was never really overly bet either, and has to handle the stretch out. And then Revelation, it's the same ownership group. It's like if you're going to drop horses, why drop them both in the same spot? I'm landing on the 5 here, who does have some experience going a little bit longer.
That's pretty logical reasoning, JK. I totally understand what you're saying there, as both he and Paulie on Crusading, as we get it out to Matt Dinnerman with the call here of race number 4 from Oaklawn Park.
One back, Charleston, your current favorite. We're ready to go. And we're off. Revelation hopped in the air at the start. He was off slowly. Good getaway from Money Shot, who's sent hard by Rocco Bowen to snatch the lead. He's got it from Crusading, and Redfield inside of him. A gap of 2 to Charleston, racing a clear 4th ahead of El Matador. Revelation second to last, and Silver Tone, the first-time starter, has no early pace. He'll attempt to do his best running later. 8 lengths from first to last as they round the clubhouse turn. Money Shot, his rider wanted him on the lead, and he's got the lead by a length and a tail. Crusading picks up the running in the second spot. Redfield placed in a good position by Nick Juarez, stalking the pace inside of Charleston, who's a clear 4th down the backstretch. El Matador is next. Revelation joins him to his inside, and Silver Tone bides his time at the back of the pack. He's 7 behind as they're halfway home in the 4th race. Money Shot continues to carve out the fractions, 3/4 of a length ahead. Crusading goes pretty well in second. So does Redfield, still tucked in on the inside. Charleston with no excuses. His stablemate Revelation now sent along 5 behind. El Matador under pressure too. And Silver Tone at the rear needs to turn it around as they round the forward turn. Money Shot a neck in front. Crusading getting closer. Redfield right behind them. And Charlestown gets a giddy up reminder, but he's moving up 3 deep, sent along by Ricardo Santana. Within range though, if he's good enough, at the top of the lane. Money Shot off the turn, trying to fight off Crusading. Charleston needs to quicken on the grandstand side. Redfield is still down on the inside, but he's back and forth. Furlong to go. Money Shot drifting out, maintains a narrow lead. Crusading, Charleston, Redfield up the inside, coming with a late rally, and Redfield passes that early leader, Money Shot, and it's Redfield and Nick Juarez drawing clear, and the short leaf stable colors to win it. Charleston was second, third home Money Shot, and Crusading was 4th.
Shortleaf Stables gave young trainer Lindsey Schultz a shot last season. It pays off here as Redfield drops in class out of the very live door knock race back on October 14th at Keeneland and prevails. A dogged fight here to the wire as number 4, Sarah, Money Shot, didn't really want to give it up.
No, he was game. I mean, this is a horse that was really fighting throughout this race and didn't want to let anybody go by. But Redfield kind of snuck up the rail and as you mentioned, was just exiting a race that was won by a horse who has a very bright future in Dornoch. Of course, that full brother to Kentucky Derby winner Mage.
Yes, as the favorite, number 8, Charleston, settled for second on the outside as it was 3, 8, 4, 5 unofficially, as back here at the Big A, horses are getting ready for today's 6th race, as we will bring you more on this field after the break. A maiden special weight going a mile on America's Day at the Races.
Charlatan is back, and he turns it on with an 1/8 of a mile to go. Express Train moves into second. Nashville dropping out of it, and then Collusion Illusion. What a spectacular return for Charlatan, who will romp in the run-happy Malibu Stakes by 4.5 emphatic lengths. Charlatan, ultra impressive.
It's a new day for a new king.
Thanks for tuning into the program. It's America's Day at the Races. Live racing coverage from Aqueduct as well as Oaklawn Park as we are back here at the Big A for today's 6th race. Start of the late pick 3. Going a mile are these maiden fillies, older fillies, I should say, as there's one that you're checking out on your screen that is trying the main track for the first time. It's number 2, Why Waste Words? And for thoughts on her, we check in with the MIG.
Yeah, thanks, Maggie. And I like what I'm seeing from the 2 Why Waste Words. I think from a pedigree standpoint, dirt could be a good thing for her. You look at Bernardini, the sire, 8% with turf routers in a win percentage as opposed to 17%. Excuse me, 8% turf routers against 17% dirt routers. That's a better way to say it. And looking at her, I just think she'll handle the dirt fine from a physical perspective. Well turned out, as you expect from a Jimmy Bond trainee. And checking the boxes for me, I really like what I'm seeing from the 2 Why Waste Words. The 4, Rhea Valentine, looks terrific. Really well turned out. Javier Castellano takes the call here. This is a filly that is turning back from the mile and 8 to the 1-turn mile. And I just feel like she probably has a step forward in her. I think from a stamina standpoint, just having that 2-turn try here at Aqueduct should help her. The 6, Miss Intention, good-looking daughter of Into Mischief, making her 7th start. I like what I'm seeing. Really well turned out. You expect that coming from a Bill Mott trainee. Leanna Williford, his assistant here in New York, does a terrific job. And the 7, Cheryl's Delight, also making a nice impression. Kind of a long, lean, kind of streamlined daughter of Tonalist, well posted towards the outside, and kind of should have the run of the race looking from the outside in. And just briefly, a horse that I have to talk about, the 8, Little Jersey Girl. And this isn't meant as a knock or a negative. She is just absolutely the smallest racehorse I've ever seen in my lifetime on the racetrack. She is tiny. If she breaks 14 hands, I'd be shocked.
I would say that runs with the bloodlines, as Bustin' Stones do tend to be on the smaller side, but often very quick with big hearts.
No, very cute.
As the jock looking to go back to back here with some long shots, Elijah Greenidge will be aboard. Number 8, Little Jersey Girl, as the prices, as Paul said, they keep coming here on the show. Not quite as big as Prince of Joy earlier on here at the Big A, but Redfield graduates with the drop in class for Lindy Schultz, Nick Juarez in the Irons 4 short leaf stable. Getting their picture taken there. And he, I thought a good ride by Nick because he saved so much ground. And I think Oaklawn is a track that's very fair. I feel like you can make runs anywhere on the track.
I'd agree. I think that sometimes after weather, just like here, you can deal with some sort of bias developing. But overall, in general, I don't think that it's one of those situations like a Charlestown or even like a Keeneland that favors speed so much. I think that you're absolutely right that for the most part, it is a surface where you are able to get a fair run at any part of the racetrack and with any running style as well.
At 13-1, Redfield returned 29-20 for the win over the favorite Charleston and Money Shot, who was game in defeat, rounding out the trifecta as we do have jocks up in the paddock for this 6th race at the Big A. We'll bring you a post-parade momentarily, but 7-5 on the Linda Rice trainee La Gervina, as she is currently at 158 wins for the year at NYRA, looking to at least tie the record of 164.
She's getting there.
Accomplished by David Jacobson several years ago.
I think it was 2013.
Yep,
yes.
You're right.
Yep.
And
closing in.
Yeah, as we kick off the post parade with a bit of a long shot. Number 1, Touche, Gary Contessa, Trevor McCarthy.
A distant third last time behind the likes of Peristyle and African Waters as she stays with the maiden special weight foes.
Why Waste Words gets on the dirt for the first time.
A horse that Richie liked for this surface as she does change on over. Not great stats for the Bon Barn going from dirt to turf with maidens, or turf to dirt rather.
Stretch out with your favorite La Gervina. We'll talk more about her as number 4, Rhea Valentine. She's actually a turnback.
And this is a horse that showed really good speed 2 starts ago as well. She broke through the gate last time, so perhaps you toss that one and give her an excuse for that effort.
Coming in from Churchill is Miss Intention.
The full sibling to Jane Gray, who was interesting on this circuit, and she's progressively
improved. She was more of a turf horse, wasn't she? No, she was a dirt horse. memory's failing me. Churls Delight also coming in from Churchill.
Has that one number last time that's a standout on the dirt, finishing third that day. If she can repeat it,
And here's the petite J-Bred little Jersey girl.
And only going out for the second time. Blinkers do go on. Might have some speed towards the outside, and now gets the rider with some confidence after that win at a huge price in the previous race.
Well, the Springboard Mile Stakes always feels like Derby prep season is fully underway when we get to that race. I don't know why it feels like that to me, but it does. Your boy that won the Cigar Mile.
Hoist the Gold?
No, not that won the Cigar Mile. That was favored.
In what race?
In the Cigar Mile. Senior Buscador.
Oh.
He won this race.
Did he really?
Yeah. Anyway, we're
One of
running
my
a
many
promotion
children.
here at NYRAbets.com. You just have to opt in, bet $25 on a win wager, hit it, and get an extra $20 when you bet one horse to win in the Springboard Mile. Here's your selection, number 6 in here, Sarah, Misintention. Getting a nice warm-up from regular rider for the Mott Barn, Junior Alvarado.
I'd love to see this horse be a little bit more forward because she hasn't shown any speed lately going a route of ground. And this is a horse that had kind of an abbreviated 2-year-old season, had debuted and had been a little bit further back, and then showed really good speed before fading in her second start. The turf experiment didn't work out, and then she was off for quite some time, reappearing in September of this year at Churchill. And I just like that over her last 3 races, she's kind of taken a step forward in terms of her Beyer speed figure. It's been gradual. She's sort of raced herself into a little bit more professionalism and fitness, and I'd love to see her take another step today and kind of be more involved early on in the race instead of giving herself so much to do.
Yeah, her lack of early speed may hurt her a bit here, but is getting a nice warm-up, so maybe Junior has that in the back of his mind as we check in with JK for his thoughts on Misintention.
Yeah, look, I think that she, like you guys have mentioned, she kind of seems to like that she is kind of figuring it out a little bit. And I do think that she does have a nice foundation. She has some races where she's shown a little bit more early speed, and maybe they just had to kind of get to know her a little bit, and they should possibly kind of get her to get involved a little bit more. But I think the one thing for me is that she added blinkers last time, and maybe that was kind of what helped her kind of wake up a little bit. And I'm hopeful that the second time around there, that Joel last time, Junior this time, and Bill Mott in the morning has learned a little bit more about Misintention and what it is that she wants to do out there. I thought she ran extremely well at Churchill Downs. I'm not concerned about the distance. If you can go 7.5, you can go the mile, and her pedigree suggests that shouldn't be a problem at all. So I'm looking forward to seeing if Misintention, Richie, has kind of turned the corner with those blinkers.
Yeah, I think it's kind of interesting, too. I mean, she made a nice impression in the warm-up. And, she's coming out of a race, an odd distance, 7.5 furlongs, this weird hybrid distance. They went 22 flat, 45. She's out the back. She rallied. I just think the pace will be a lot more moderate. I do think she'll be more involved. I think she makes a lot of sense. The 2 Why Waste Words also made a nice impression in the warm-up. Liked what I saw there. The 3 La Gravina, I didn't particularly, catch her in the paddock. Like, she just didn't stand out to me. One of those horses that kind of puffed up when she got on the racetrack, really made a different impression once she got on the racetrack. And, she's your favorite. I can see why. And the 4 Raya Valentine will be my top selection. Couldn't get past her. Liked everything I saw from her. Javier Castellano turning back to the mile. The barn's going well. Chad Summers having a good meet here at Aqueduct. I think this is a very, very difficult race to handicap. So a lot of what I'm doing is going on appearance. This is absolutely an appearance pick with the 4 Raya Valentine.
Well, you also know that she has the foundation and the stamina built in with the effort going the 9 furlongs. We do see Elijah Greenidge off, little Jersey girl who is getting a saddle adjustment. But, Sarah, we now actually favoritism going to Misintention. But before, through most of the preliminaries here, it has been La Gravina. Now, to me, stretching out from the 6.5 to this mile, she looks to control here.
It's possible. I mean, she's a horse that is coming out of those sprint distances, as you mentioned, took a step forward last time getting onto a dry track and actually took a bit of money. She was favored in that race. And one of the rare Linda Rice runners that was really sharp on debut, actually finished second at 5-1. And Linda Rice, with all of the excellent stats that she has in so many categories, not necessarily known for her first-time starters.
Is it a negative that she didn't win in her second start as a favorite?
She had a little bit of trouble. I don't particularly like her today, but I think that if you do, you can certainly make some excuses for her last time. She was steadied a bit. Now she does get that extra ground to work with as well.
And two, she finished in a blanket photo for third. I think with a little bit more exertion, she would have been a clear third that day. As they are heading into line, we'll see how Y Waste Words handles the main track as we see Richie's selection, Rhea Valentine, making the best impression in the prelims, and Miss Intention going in to the gate as your 8-5 favorite. We get it up to Chris Griffin for the call.
Little Jersey girl. Goes in. All set. They're off. Squeeze at the start there. Very awkward at the break there was Miss Intention. Might have just been hampered there at the start. But here's Little Jersey Girl to the outside, and Little Jersey Girl is now a neck in front. Also joining towards the inside is La Gravina as they're stacked up here, and it's an easy early tempo. No speed up front. They really back off of it as they hook up with the backstretch. Little Jersey Girl's got the lead. La Gravina is down towards the inside here, tracking from second, and Rhea Valentine is in third. Up on the far outside, here's Cheryl's Delight, is followed by Miss Intention. Just had some of that trouble at the start. Is now within 2.5 of the lead, but behind a slow pace. They went 23 and 4 for that opening quarter mile. The two at the back, Touche and Why Waste Words. La Gravina moves to the inside here. It's La Gravina who's now challenging the big long shot Little Jersey Girl who's in between horses. Rhea Valentine wants to go 3 wide, 47.44 for the half-mile time. 3 across the racetrack with Miss Intention right in behind them. Also running on is Cheryl's Delight. This front 5 is tightly packed. Then under a full drive at the back is Touche with Why Waste Words. Starting to back out of it is Little Jersey Girl. She starts to move back now, and here comes the run from Rhea Valentine, who's a neck in front. La Gravina is fully extended down towards the inside. Miss Intention sees a seam, just gets squeezed for room there. Tough journey so far, but Miss Intention now bulls on through. It's Rhea Valentine, Miss Intention in between horses at the rail. La Gravina, now Miss Intention switches to the outside, a tough trip. It's Rhea Valentine. Javier Castellano now up by 3. Miss Intention battles on here with La Gravina. Also, Cheryl's Delight is running on late. Rhea Valentine sprinting clear in the late stages. Rhea Valentine gets the score. La Gravina there was second, then came Miss Intention and Cheryl's Delight. Final running time, 1 minute 37.30 seconds.
Valentine, it doesn't matter that she doesn't switch leads. She's a winner today as that built-in stamina and foundation turning back to the mile and 8th. Nice selection, Richie with Rhea Valentine as she went off at 5-1, but tough trip for your favorite in here, Sarah, Miss Intention.
Yeah, she had trouble at a couple points in this race, especially at the start, but even here trying to go through a spot on the turn and then ultimately switching out and trying for an outside rally and just getting tired in the later stages of this race. But Rhea Valentine, a horse that had those 2 races on a track with some moisture in it, last time finally gets to a fast track and runs okay, but no breaking through the gate for her today, able to sit up close and get the job done.
As Javier Castellano guided her to victory for Chad Summers and RRR Racing. But let's check out the start. Keep your eyes on number 6, Miss Intention.
Yeah, she kind of bobbles forward, but then she takes another awkward step, and it's a continuous process, and Junior really kind of almost fell off there.
Oh, she's half off the side.
She took a lot of time to really get her feet underneath her and lost a lot of position in that process. So trouble all around for her there, and then another point on the turn, so just not her day today.
No, in a tight spot too, coming down the stretch, and Junior really demonstrating the athleticism that these jockeys possess in managing to kind of keep his balance and keep himself centered over the middle of Miss Intention. Not an easy thing to do, but Rhea Valentine graduates today at 5-1 as we head back over to Oaklawn Park as their 5th race is on the track. It's for the Archie Breds, going the 6 furlongs, claiming 20 non-2 life. And we do see lukewarm favoritism going to number 8 in here, Betty Joe. She's run at this condition before, but she does go out for Ron Moquette. I know she's a little bit of a nervous type, at least she was last season, as number 1, Pat's Gal, kicks off the post parade.
Comes in from Canterbury Park, a horse who was running in the claiming ranks over there. Did finish 3rd in her last couple of races, but seems to need to take a step forward.
Here's a turn back in number 2, Elmo's Secret.
A horse coming off a little bit of a freshening, ran an off the turf race last time out and does get that cut back in distance, like you mentioned. I think that should help her cause.
Interesting with Christian Torres aboard that long shot as number 3, Smarties Angel for L. Cates and Kelsey Hart.
One that we hadn't seen in a little while was last running at Louisiana Downs. Has run okay at Oaklawn in the past.
Blondes have mo fun, adds the blinkers today.
Comes in from Remington Park, a horse that, again, would need to show us something a little bit more.
Long shot here with number 5, Dixie Girl 2.
If you kind of draw a line through that last race, she was sort of stuck in the maiden ranks for a while, ended up getting the first win on turf, and now stays on dirt.
And here's number 6, KJ's Pistol Annie.
One of those horses that really aims for this Oaklawn meet. We haven't seen her since the last year's Oaklawn.
Yep, as number 7 there with the American flag colors, Be My Huckleberry. Seems very Americana, the whole scenario.
Coming in from Prairie Meadows, just has the maiden win to her credit, 2 back.
There's your favorites. You can see a little bit nervous. Betty Joe, a little washy too, as number 9 is Thursday Morning.
Big price on this horse who ran at Delta last time out.
Feels like an oxymoron to say shut up, please.
Too polite?
Yeah. Well, like you're being, impolite and polite in the same breath, as number 11 is Petula Reclaim for Joe McKellar.
Horse that was rallying from off the pace, 2 back on dirt. Still kind of lightly raced. I think this one's a little bit interesting.
Rounding out the field is number 12, Cora Mandel.
Has a couple of races that kind of fit with this group. Able to get the maiden win over a sloppy sealed track 3 starts ago, and kind of taking a little bit of at least a lateral class move, if not a drop.
Back here at the Big A, a mild upset with number 4, Rhea Valentine, getting the win with Hall of Famer Javier Castellano in the irons, and this daughter of Quality Road out of the Tis Wonderful mare, Rhea.
Horse that we knew had some speed. She'd shown it in the past in a couple of races, and while no one was necessarily fully intent on getting the lead other than Elijah Greenidge, who sent his long shot to the front, which sometimes can be extremely effective and certainly a good move there, she was able to sit up close and just ended up being a horse that fit this level. She ran well in here, as you mentioned before, didn't switch leads, but able to open up a decent margin of separation in there and was a fair price at 5-1.
It feels like all of the horses that have come out of that party at Grant's Race have won or come back to run well, including Paris Style, Banished, and now Rhea Valentine. Back here at Oaklawn, we see horses completing their warm-ups with 2 minutes to post as we get back over to Paula Duca, standing by for more info on your favorite 2-1 on Betty Joe, Paulie.
Yeah, and I can hear the tone in your voice. 2-1. Listen, I like Betty Joe in this spot, but 2-1 in an Arkansas-bred race is really, really tough to take. Let's be honest, the way these have been running. But you made a good point, Maggie. When this horse actually won first time out on the maiden 30, it would look like the horse was like out and empty, and then sort of kind of re-rallied when he got to the outside. Now, I'm trying to look on here. He does not have an extension blinker on in this race. Now, he had an extension. Does he have an extension blinker? I can't tell, Max, but you might have remembered he has an extension blinker on his left eye, and he's kind of one of those horses. When I talked to Ron Moquette about him, or about her, she just gets a little lazy. On the nervous part, she was doing okay. You can see a lot of horses. It's a cool day here with some kidney sweat and some horses washed out. She looked okay. I just don't know if I want to take 5-2. I think Be My Huckleberry for Dwayne F. Lloyd's got a big shot in here, the 7, with Fernando de la Cruz, who's riding hot. And then JK, Smarty's Angel in here, a 5-year-old mare. You know, I was between the 3 and the 8 in here. I just went with the 8 because the 8's a 3-year-old fairly against your 5-year-old mare, thinking there's more improvement, but I understand where you're going.
Yeah, look, I landed on the 3, and these races, I think a lot of times, these kind of lower level, right, 50 buyer type races, I always kind of defer to speed. I think that's kind of the difference between a 50 buyer horse and a 90 buyer horse, right? I mean, I think the 50 buyer horses at some point of the race are running just as fast as the 90 buyer horses, but the 90 buyer horses are able to do it for longer and more consistently. When it comes to horses like this, I want horses that are going to be forward because I don't feel like they're going to be able to overcome adversity. When they turn for home, they're all a little bit fatigued. Give me the horse that's already there in the front. That's why I landed on the 3, Smarty's Angel. Just felt like a horse coming in off of a layoff that could run well, fresh, could be able to pop away from there and just kind of hold on. There's a group of horses in here I just don't trust. And if I'm looking for a horse to kind of run that 50 buyer, I'm hoping that it's going to be the 3, Smarty's Angel, because I think she will be forward while the rest of them are going to be a little bit out the back.
That type of approach makes a lot of sense, JK, in these types of races. And I will say, with Smarty's Angel, I know it's been a while since we've seen her, but at least in that last race at Louisiana Downs, she was beaten by a 1-9 shot in Frosty Brew, who would return to win again with a 72 buyer. And furthermore, 2 other horses came out of that race to win as well.
Yeah, I like that race as well because I like the horse towards the outside. And Petula, who actually finished ahead of her in there, who's a much better price right now, who does not have the same early speed. But I think that there could be a couple of horses that want to be forward, and maybe she can come pick up some pieces.
Does it concern you that she ran her best race for previous connections and now a reclaim for the prior connections?
Yes.
I saw the same thing.
But at this level,
I liked her at first. Yeah, I think she makes a good deal of sense as they are heading into line here as, well, you know, sometimes with a full field of Arkansas breds, we'll see what shakes out. Just do want to mention a weird horse in here I thought was a little bit interesting, as JK said, isn't devoid of speed, is number 1, Pat's Gal. She will go out for Robert Klein, Ramsey Zimmerman, and the Irons, but I thought kind of ran well. Another one behind a 1-9 winner in Open Company last time. And we'll see if the speed theory works out here. Will it be a closer? So we get it out to Matt Dinneman for the call of race 5 from Oaklawn Park.
Coro Mandel. We're ready to go. And Leroff having to take up right after the start. Smarty's Angel drops to the back of the pack. KJ's Pistol Annie shows the most speed and stride to the front, leads by a narrow margin. Here's Pat's Gal up the inside to come and challenge. Thursday Morning is there, so he's Shut Up Please. Petula is caught 5 deep on the course. Thursday Morning easing off that pace down the backstretch, joined by Blondes Have Mo Fun to the inside. A gap of 2 to Betty Joe. Coro Mandel is next. A link further back to Elmo Secret. Running in midfield, already sent along with Dixie Girl 2, who's second to last, and Be My Huckleberry is well behind as they round the far turn. Pat's Gal narrowly ahead. KJ's Pistol Annie right there. Petula shake it up, and Shut Up Please with Kylie Jordan has a lot of run, but right now she's got nowhere to go. She's going to try to get outside. Shut Up Please, but is looking for a spot to go. In the meantime, Pat's Gal off the turn. KJ's Pistol Annie. Now Shut Up Please finds a seam between horses, comes punching forward. Petula couldn't keep up. Shut Up Please takes the lead with a furlong to go. And once she found the seam, she kicked on nicely. Pat's Gal in second, running a valiant race, but it's going to be Shut Up Please close to the line. She's got it. Shut Up Please to score at 37-1. She looked like she was the favorite the way she ran. Pat's Gal was second. Petula third. Photo for fourth.
Wow, the long shots just keep rolling in here, Sarah. Shut Up Please. I can't believe it went off at 37-1, as we heard Matt Dinnerman said, over another long shot in number 1, Pat's Gal. And we're going to see some big prices here in this Arkansas bred race. As Paulie said, chaos usually reigns supreme in these conditions.
And we did also see a horse that was a short price that I know Jonathan had some interest in. Smarty's Angel totally missed the break, a horse that does want to be forward. So I know that changed the dynamics of the race significantly, but still a good call by you to point out Pat's Gal, who ran well to finish second, and Shut Up Please was a horse who's maybe a little bit more lightly raced than some of these, cutting back in distance, and not one that I ever would have come up with, but got a nice trip today, sitting in behind the speed, got the right split.
I was worried that Shut Up Please had lost any sort of early speed, and now she was turning back from a mile, but great job by Kylie Jordan to keep her close enough within striking distance, and she was loaded with that turn back. So we will bring you these explosive prices after we take a short break here on America's Day at the Races, and we'll jump into the cross-country pick 5. Race number 7 here at the Big A kicks it off. We'll get tickets from Sarah and JK. Stay tuned.
Speightstown. Munning. Echo Town.
It's Echo Town for Joe Alamo, and Echo Town raced away.
And Echo Town is drawing away in the stretch. Echo Town wins the Allen Jerkin Stakes.
A sire line so prolific, it repeats itself. Echo Town.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing, with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Tonalist, a 4-time Grade 1 winner with 11 triple-digit buyers, including the Belmont Stakes and the Cigar Mile. He's already living up to his potential as a sire with multiple graded stakes winners, including Grade 1 winner Country Grammar and Grade 2 winner Tonalist Shape, plus multiple 6-figure yearling and 2-year-old sales. Proven on the track, proven in the sales ring. Tonalist, standing at Lane's End.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Welcome back, and thanks for joining us here on America's Day at the Races on FS2 as we will get things spicy. Well, it's already been pretty spicy on the show with numerous long shots, but we'll see if the trend continues as we kick off the cross-country pick 5. Begins here in race number 7 at the Big A and will conclude with race 9 from Oaklawn Park. Some contentious races there for, well, actually for all the legs, I think, as we will now take a look at your ticket. Sarah, you've kept it pretty slim. I admire your work.
Thank you. This is a tough sequence. I wouldn't blame anybody for wanting to go a little bit deeper in really any of the legs that we have here, but I'm only using 2 horses to start things off. Orson Detective Tom, who showed good speed last time, as well as Slam and Gold towards the outside. You could go a lot more than 2 horses deep in the final race from Aqueduct, but I'm keeping it simple with a horse who I think will be your favorite in Better Humor Me, as well as a bit of a long shot in Fancy Feline. When we get over to Oaklawn, I'm going with 4 horses. I have no super strong opinion in what looks like a wide open affair in there, using some of the logical types. And then in the 4th race, you have 3 horses that have put together some interesting win streaks, Colonel Vargo being one of them, as well as Born Flawless, and even the number 6, Shackleford Strong, who just lost last time out, but before that had a nice win streak going. And then just 2 horses to hopefully close things out in their feature race. I'm using Command Performance as well as Wheeling Springs for a little bit of a price. So $48 play, and hopefully you can get involved, and we can see if Jonathan Kinchin and I can hit this thing together. JK, what have you got on your ticket?
I think we're going to find out pretty quick if we can. I don't think we have. I used 2 horses in the first leg, and we don't have the same. So one of us is going to lose. Maybe both of us. Who knows? But we both can't win. I'm going to use the 4 and the 9 to get started. The 4, Agalos the Great, and the 9, Elysian Meadows. In the second leg, 6, 7, 9. 6, Clover Street. The 7, Super's Lucky Lady. The 9, Better Humor Me. I'm going to spread in the third leg, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8. The 4 will be my top pick in that third leg, but I'm going to use all 5 of those horses. I'm going to single in the fourth leg, the 2, Born Flawless. I thought about singling the 1, Command Performance, to wrap it up, but I'm going to use the 7, Wayland Springs, and the 8, Full Screen as well.
I like it, JK, with a single on there, as we will get back here for the first leg of this cross-country Pick 5 sequence. It is our Spendthrift Farm 2-year-old race of the day. For the New York breds, we go the 6 furlongs, and these are winners. As we see number 4 in here, Agalos the Great, your current 3-1 favorite as we get it down to the paddock with the MIG.
Yeah, guys, I mean, starting with the 4, Agalos the Great, I mean, he makes a nice impression, really a big, strong horse. He actually, I could see why they stretched him out to a mile, because he looks like he'd probably go further. I mean, it didn't work out that well. He was a distant third in the Sleepy Hollow going the mile, turned back, a good effort in the Notebook last time, and looks good, really checking the boxes. As is the 6, Detective Tom, also coming out of the Notebook. Horse that consistently shows good speed. 2 different body types. He's a little bit shorter, a little bit squatter, more of a sprinter type bill. The 9, Elysian Meadows, 1 for 1, rallied from off the pace, making a nice impression. I like when horses have that first start and they act as well as he's acting in the second start. It shows you it didn't rattle their cage or shake them up, if you will. And then the 11, Slammin' Gold. Stand out. He has a Saratoga coat on. He is dappled out. He is a horse that has steadily gotten fitter and fitter every start, and he's improved in each one of his subsequent 3 starts, and I think you're going to see another move forward today. He is an absolute standout from a physical perspective.
Well, that's good news for you, Sarah, as you do like number 11, Slammin' Gold, with that lovely pedigree, being a son of Bar of Gold, Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Sprint winner once upon a time, and he broke through in a big way in start number 3.
And he was a horse that had kind of been taking those steps forward, just as Richie mentioned, because he really did not get it out of the gate first time out, a race that Agalos the Great actually won. Showed so much more speed second time out, finishing second in a game effort behind Solo's Fury. And then this was a big win for him. And he earned a decent number. He got a 70 Beyer speed figure for that winning effort. So I think that he's just really put things together well. And he's a horse that now gets that nice, advantageous outside post position. He can show some speed. He can sit just off. And I think that he's really starting to figure this whole racing thing out.
I like it. All right, as we see Kendrick Carmouche get the leg up. He's looking for back-to-back wins. See if he, he'll have the early speed, but he has that nice outside post to kind of see who else may want to go. Like Detective Tom, it's our Spendthrift Farm 2-year-old race of the day. And here's your post parade. Kick things off with a long shot, Running Lucky.
Another horse that might show some speed in here. He is taking that step up in class from his maiden win and didn't really run quite as well last time out.
As number 3, Always a Warrior, went by, here's your favorite, Agalos the Great.
Just in a tough spot inside last time out in the Notebook. Looks to be the class of this field with what we've seen so far.
I should say co-favorite at Ice the Kicker goes by. There is number 6, Detective Tom.
First time on a dry dirt track, really suited him well. He showed good speed at a big price to finish second last time out.
Surprised by the 3-1 on Mischief Joke?
I am a little bit. A horse that is getting a little bit of class relief, but he's had a lot of opportunities.
There's number 8, Perliano for Rob Atras.
Comes out of that Notebook Stakes as well. Had won in his start prior to that for the first time.
Elysian Meadows is undefeated as he did so in an upset in his debut.
A horse that was coming from off the pace, and the horse that he beat, Big Prankster, did come right back and win.
Toporacle, 50-1.
Big long shot in here. A horse that's had a couple of tries versus winners.
And there is very logical number 11, Slammin' Gold.
Yeah, the horse with the big pedigree that's kind of putting things together at the right time. Maybe another step forward or a repeat of his last performance. Put him in the winner's circle.
We will get back to number 9, Elysian Meadows here for Bill Mott, as yes, it was an upset last time, 15-1, didn't take much attention as Big Prankster was favored that day, but he would graduate in his next start, Sarah, and I thought he got some pace to run into. Elysian Meadows got a great ride by Jose Lascano. Is he as good as we see here, or was he flattered by the dynamics of this race?
I think that this was a situation where the dynamics of the race certainly helped him out. I mean, he was a horse that was taking kickback, was making up good ground, had to sort of weave in between horses, and got a really good education out of this race to just get the win, as you see him now getting by a horse in Big Prankster who had things his own way on the front end. But at the same time, it's not as though this race is devoid of speed either. You have a lot of horses that do want to be forwardly placed, and I think it just kind of depends on how aggressive everybody else is. Flashing that kind of talent first time out shows a level of professionalism that I think that he could build on, and here, he's not on my ticket, but he's certainly a logical type, and I don't have anything against him.
You know whose ticket he is on?
He's on Jonathan's ticket.
Yeah, JK, I scribbled down your ticket real quick. Find out. I'm totally a bandwagon type of player, so whoever gets through this first leg, I'm rooting for you.
Hey, look, I'm fine with that. Whatever. I just don't want you rooting against me. That's the only negative. I'm trying to avoid that one. Look, we'll start with the 9, Elysian Meadows. This is one of those situations where many will say, "Oh, last time was the time." Well, yeah, that's fine. Sure, last time was the time, but here's today, and I'm not going to let this horse beat me. The reason I'm interested is because the horse outran a less than stellar stat for a Hall of Famer in Bill Mott. When Bill Mott has a first-time starter who is 10-1 or higher in the last 5 years, he's 4%. His horses don't run well if they're not bet at first-time starters. This one did, so it shows a little bit of talent to kind of break through that low percentage stat. In fact, it was 9 out of 202. His counts as one of them, so that's 8 out of 202 or 201 prior to this. So you do the math on that. I'm going to land on the 4 though. Agalos the Great. I thought this horse had a tough trip last time. Getting involved and was close up to a pace that I thought was honest, got stuck in behind horses a little bit, and I thought ran extremely well. Seems to kind of be figuring it out for George Weaver. And the 6 furlongs, the way this horse ran last time, the way this horse broke the maiden, just made me feel a lot more comfortable with the 4, but I'm very happy to have the 4 and the 9. Richie?
Yeah, Detective Tom made a nice impression in the paddock, continued to make a nice impression on the racetrack. The 7-horse Mischief Joke didn't catch my eye in the paddock, but did catch my eye in the warm-up. And then I'm all about the 11, Slammin' Gold. Best turned out, horse that's steadily improving, incredible pedigree. And I'm so old, ladies, I rode that horse's Grand Dam and Great Grand Dam.
Yeah, a little Seeking the Ante bloodline, I think, going through that one as Agalos the Great. He continues to be your 5-2 favorite in this Spendthrift Farm 2-year-old race of the day. Me being part of the Pretty Pony fan club, Agalos the Great is definitely a member of that. He's very handsome.
Is he on your ticket?
I didn't play, Sarah, but he's on Jonathan's. So, put me on the spot, man.
You can buy into his ticket.
Okay, all right. I like that. They're heading into line for our feature as we head up to Chris Griffin for the call.
All set. And they're off. Slammin' Gold was off slowly, and so was Taporical. They're the 2 early trailers. Speed from Detective Tom from in between horses right to the front. Ice the Kicker in the early mix and at the rail. That's Always a Warrior. Joining them is Elysian Meadows, is out in the far outside. Also progressing is Perliano. Tightly at the rail with nowhere to go is going to be Running Lucky. After breaking slowly, here's Slammin' Gold. And Slammin' Gold had to work, but is now within 3 of the lead and is wide with less than 4 furlongs to travel. Towards the back, it's Agalos the Great with the trailer, Taporical. 22-3 for the opening quarter mile. Detective Tom has got the lead. Here's the run from Elysian Meadows and still Slammin' Gold. After the start, Slammin' Gold is 3 wide, but is coming right after the leaders right now. At the rail there is Always a Warrior, also looking for a way through. Here comes Mischief Joke. Mischief Joke is going to tip towards the outside, 4 wide. Always a Warrior is going to dive down towards the inside. They are lined up across the racetrack, and Detective Tom is still there. Detective Tom, here's Elysian Meadows, now stalling a bit as Slammin' Gold, and here's the run from Mischief Joke down the center of the racetrack on the grandstand side. Elysian Meadows is trying to hold off Mischief Joke, who's catching with every stride. Elysian Meadows is almost there. Mischief Joke gets closer and closer. It's still Elysian Meadows, very game to the inside. Elysian Meadows gets the score. Elysian Meadows holds off that oncoming run there from Mischief Joke. Then came Always a Warrior and Detective Tom in 1 minute, 11-1.
Elysian Meadows, he is pretty good as he remains undefeated, going off at 7-2 for Hall of Famer Bill Mott. Jose Lezcano in the irons, and I'm sorry, Sarah, your ticket is no longer with us.
It's okay, as long as you bought into Jonathan's and he let you in. Look, this is a horse that showed a lot more speed today than he did first time out. He was right up and on the pace. Detective Tom fading in the later stages. I would say Mischief Joke, a horse that took a little bit of money. He's had his chances, but he was making a menacing late rally. But a couple of disappointments from this race. One of them being Agalos the Great, who did not run a step.
He didn't. And I mean, Slam and Gold had the excuse.
He did, and that was my next. one.
I'm sorry, I cut you off.
It's okay. It's fine. You're just lucky that you're still alive in the cross country pick one. No, Slam and Gold didn't break that all that quickly and kind of rushed
slammed
up
into a foe.
Yeah,
as well.
There he did. But what happened to Agalos the Great?
He was never involved. Never made a yell at this field at all.
Nothing.
He has had, this is his 6th start of his 2-year-old season. Maybe a little vacation. I think he's earned it.
It's likely. But Elysian Meadows gets the job done. Not quite the price that he was first time out, but able to pair up those efforts back-to-back, stay undefeated, and a difference in running style for him as well, showing a little bit more versatility today. Perhaps a good one to keep your eye on going forward.
Becoming a better racehorse as it is 9-7-3-6. Unofficially in the 7th as we kick off the cross-country Pick 5 on America's Day at the Races.
What's better than one fill? 2 fills.
That was a keen turn of speed.
2 stakes wins at 2.
And it's 2 fills.
2 5.5 Ragozins.
And the son of hard spun.
2 105 buyers, including the Kentucky Derby.
And a passion run by 2 fills.
In the last 15 derbies, no horse has been faster.
This is a serious 3-year-old.
And at 12.5, you'd better book fast. 2 fills, this year's fastest 3-year-old around 2 turns.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with NYRA Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with NYRA Bets.
You are watching America's Day at the Races, and we are brought to you by NYRA Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Maggie Wolfendale, Sarah El Badwi, Richard Migliori, Jonathan Kenshin, and Paul LaDuca out there at Oaklawn Park, as we'll get to their next race in a moment. But back here at the Big A, it was Elysian Meadows who takes down the Spendthrift Farm 2-year-old race of the day and returns 980 for the win, Sarah.
He's interesting going forwards. I mean, a horse that was really professional first time out, rallying from off the pace. Today, he sits close and gets the job done. Certainly a 2-year-old to keep your eye on moving forwards.
2 for 2 in his young career, as we're back over at Oaklawn Park and their 6th race on the track, a claiming 30 for the fillies and mares going the 6 furlongs. Kicking off the post parade is number 1, American Band, who is riding a 3-race win streak into this, but goes out for yet another trainer.
Yeah, she's been able to bring that form to different barns, been in some good ones as well. Now goes over to John Haran, and we'll see what she can do in here. She can get her 4th win in a row.
Turn back for the long shot, Right Trap.
Horse that we haven't seen in a little bit, comes in off a little bit of a freshening since October, and just as you said, cuts back in distance off a win.
Only 2 dirt races for Lucy's Cakes Fly. One of them makes her a player, one of them does not.
Yeah, the race at Keeneland, as you mentioned, is a race that certainly puts her in the mix, and here, kind of better turf form overall.
As number 4, Simona's Choice, back in with scheduled dirt runners today.
And cuts back in distance as well, a horse that was running some mid-70s buyers over at Remington, going a mile in off-the-turf races.
Kylie Jordan in the irons for her dad looks to go back-to-back with Diva Treba.
This one not quite the same price as the last race, but still a decent long shot as well.
And number 6, Cartel Queen, off a long layoff for Riley Mott.
Yeah, this is a horse that we have not seen since May of 2022.
And here's number 7, Cost a Fortune, Tim Dixon and Kelsey Hart.
Now goes 3rd off of a layoff, a horse that is getting a little bit of class relief.
And a horse that I think likes it at Oaklawn is number 8, Rockstar Parking, with 7 starts around the oval, 3 wins.
And getting some class relief as well, for sure. Has been facing better horses in her last 2 at Churchill Downs and Horseshoe Indianapolis, and likely leading to her current 8-5 favoritism.
Yeah, beaten by the repeat winner, Comset, the New York bred, named for Comset Park, beautiful place on Long Island, as we will get it out to Paulie for his thoughts on the 8-5 favorite.
Yeah, you made a great point there, Maggie. This horse is coming out of a couple live races. And when you look at the Cipriana Contreras runner in here, Rockstar Parking, you know, this horse won, you know, by about 6 3/4 lengths, off a little bit of a refreshing second off. And then the race at Churchill Downs, Emmanuel Esquivel was trying to get her underneath horses, and the horse just checked out of there, and she just kind of just, you know, trotted home because the race was kind of over. They blistered in 109, and she couldn't get underneath. You know, and then in her next start, when she lost to Comset, she was second choice that day. She kind of got ridden like she was 9-5, was hung out wide with Marcelina Pedrosa, but she didn't get away from the gate that well. So I think she definitely is. Listen, she brings one of those A-game races, and like you said, one of those races here at Oaklawn Park. She's going to be ultra tough to beat. I do think the 1 is a player in here, and the public thinks so too, at 3-1 for John Haran. Whenever you win 3 races in a row by combined 10 lengths, it's hard to ignore. But I do think the 3 is the long shot play in here. Lucy's Cakes Fly. Shea Stewart had a 30-1 winner. I want to say it was either Saturday of opening weekend or Friday. And this horse, I don't know, just sneaky money. I love the way the horse looked. Willie De La Cruz is aboard. You know, I think the 8's going to be ultra tough in here, but I'm going to give Lucy Cakes Fly a little bit of a flyer, no pun intended here, at a big price.
I hear you, Paulie. Like I said, she has that 1 race on the dirt at Keeneland, as you mentioned, for the 50. And then her race at Ellis Park, it felt like at that point in time, you wanted to be on the lead at Ellis Park, and she was just wired by Condiment Girl, who's a decent runner in her own right. And then immediately the New Connections just transferred to the dirt, which rightfully so. She has back dirt form, or turf form. I think she is a little interesting.
Yeah, you can certainly make a case for this horse. I mean, she's done a lot of different distances on the grass and has run into some decent horses on that surface. And
Like
I get
greatest stakes winner R. Kelly Kim.
just a little bit.
That
Just like her.
Long Island.
I think this is an interesting spot to see if you have a dirt horse or one that can at least compete on this circuit throughout the winter, because it's kind of the same situation we have here. Can they compete on dirt?
She's going postward at 6-1, and we go out to Matt Dinnerman for the call.
And we're off. Diva Treva gets the first call of the race. Cost a Fortune sent along to get after her. Those two match their motors with Simona's Choice not far off. Here she comes diving to the rail and to the lead. Simona's Choice on top now by a half length. Diva Treva takes second. Cost a Fortune eases off the pace. She's running in the third spot with American Band. Then comes Cartel Queen. She's racing in fifth between horses, a length better than the favorite Rockstar Parking. Right trap inside of that runner. The first 7 separated by 5 lengths as they charge into the turn, and another 3 to Lucy's Cakes Fly as they round that turn. Simona's Choice being asked to keep pace. Diva Treva right up alongside, approaching the quarter pole. They're 2 clear of Cost of Fortune, sent along in third. American Band also under pressure. Rockstar Parking begins a move, is going to be caught about 4 wide, but is moving up at the top of the lane. Simona's Choice leads them down the lane here. Rockstar Parking on the grandstand side trying to get there. American Band right behind, charging. Furlong to go. Simona's Choice has a 2-length cushion. American Band second. Rockstar Parking third. 100 yards to go. Simona's Choice sticks that neck out. She goes for the win, and she's going to get it. Simona's Choice, gate to wire. American Band was second. Rockstar Parking holds third, and Cartel Queen was fourth.
Aggressive handling by Ramsey Zimmerman, who picks up his first win of the meet. It was Simona's Choice going gate to wire.
This is not really a horse that I would have expected to be on the lead coming out of those route races in here. So I think that this was the right move to have this horse be so aggressively handled, because no one else really wanted to be that forward, and ran well over the last 2 starts. But as you had mentioned, against turf meant types. So a little bit of a surprise. The prices continue.
American Band tried to keep that win streak going, but just couldn't get there as she settles for second for John Horan off the layoff and the claim. But all about Simona's Choice, Jean Jacquot, the winning conditioner. Back here at the Big A, we have the nightcap in the paddock. It is a allowance for the New York bred fillies and mares going the 7 furlongs. More on this race after this break on America's Day at the Races.
A Grade 1 winner of nearly $2 million, Silver State hails from the sire line of legendary Claiborne stallion Danzig. And his second dam is full sister to Kentucky Derby winner Monarchos. After winning the Oaklawn Handicap, Silver State defeated Knicks Go in the Grade 1 Metropolitan Handicap.
130-40, 130-40, Roger, 140,000.
120, 120, map PC, 120,000.
Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
For the last few years, Thoroughbred Racing has been taking vital steps to make our sports safer. These include the use of independent veterinarians who check every horse before every race, strict anti-doping and medication controls with severe punishments for violators, uniform safety standards for every track, and a single national authority empowered to create reforms and enforce new standards across the board. With each important measure, more data is gathered, accountability is demanded. And while we've made progress, we are committed to doing more, so that at every track, in every race, safety takes the lead. Visit ntra.com/safety for more.
Introducing a stallion, as top class as they come. In 22 career starts, he won or placed in 12 graded stakes, competing in 15 grade ones, earning over $1.7 million. His undisputed speed is evidenced by 7 100-plus Spire speed figures, a 3-time Grade 1 winner, Raging Bull.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races as we are watching the sun set. God, the days are so short this time of year here in New York, and it is our nightcap race number 8 for the New York bred fillies and mares. They're going the 7/8 on the main track, and we'll see 2-1 on number 7. Super's Lucky Lady, who is one of 2 horses trying the main track for the first time. But for more on the other one trying the main track, number 4, Long Live the Queen, we check in with the MIG.
Yeah, Maggie, I'm going to talk about those 2 first, the 2 trying dirt for the first time. The 4, Long Live the Queen, certainly more of a dirt pedigree. She's a half to dirt winners, Fort Worth, and stakes placed Bobby Bow. Definitely has that flatter, wider foot that you correlate with a turf horse. And, you know, from a physical perspective, I think turf, but from a pedigree perspective, certainly feel comfortable that, you know, from her siblings, that she would handle it just fine. The 7, Super's Lucky Lady, another one, you know, never tried dirt. Definitely on the top side, more of a turf pedigree, but, you know, an influence there from the bottom side with Dixie Brass, Watrell's Lady Hen. Horses trained by a dear friend of mine, Dennis Brida. He was a terrific crackerjack sprinter who actually won the Met Mile as a 3-year-old, ran a very fast mile that day. Out of the 2, she feels like she might handle the dirt a little better, even though she does still have that kind of turf foot that we talk about. Not maybe as pronounced as the 4-horse Long Live the Queen. The 9-horse Better Humor Me, just a small, kind of nondescript little filly, has run all good races, adds blinkers. I would be remiss not to say that she seems a little quiet, almost a little listless here. I don't know if that's in or out of character for her. And a horse that wasn't originally on my list, but I liked her more and more, particularly after she got the tack on, is the 6, Clover Street, 3rd start off the layoff, has run races good enough to be competitive here. And once she got the tack on, she started to kind of puff up. So we'll see how it continues to, attract me or change my opinions as I watch them warm up on the racetrack.
Meg, thank you. And interesting that the 2 horses trying the dirt for the first time are taking quite a bit of money. Just kind of feels like one of those races where the dirt horses don't offer much.
Well, it's also a situation where people misbet these races so much.
Yep. Back over at Oaklawn into the winner's circle. Number 4, Simona's Choice, gate to wire, aggressive and game. We saw this daughter of Oxbow getting her 5th career win. Ramsey Zimmerman in the irons for Jean Jacquot.
It pays to go to the front. I mean, you see situations like this where if someone's aggressive and if everybody else is kind of passive, it ends up working out. And her last 2 races were good, not with these types of conditions that she did cut back in distance and was running in off the turf races over her last 2, but certainly had numbers coming into this, and the prices are just rolling along here, 7-1 on this one.
Yeah, 1780 over the 2 favorites, American Band and Rockstar Parking. That's race number 6 at Oaklawn. Their next race, a part of the cross-country pick 5 and race number 7. We have the second leg here at the Big A. It is race number 8 as we'll check in and take a look at number 12, Jackson Avenue. She'll exit a race up at Finger Lakes. Now, it was a bit of an outlier in which she did face a fellow foe in here, Fancy Feline. Can she run back to it, Sarah?
That's a good question, and I think that this is a situation where we're looking at a 5.5 furlong sprint at Finger Lakes, where you saw both of these horses a little bit further back, and Fancy Feline being one that didn't really break all that well that day, and they end up finishing 2nd and 3rd in here, and it's a close photo between the 2 of them, as you saw the winner of this race, Tequila, get that perfect ride right up the rail, saving all the ground to get the win. And I kind of wonder, in the case of Fancy Feline, a horse who has more of that consistent form on this circuit, if she can get back to some of those races. I know they were with the James Bond barn in the past, but she has races that would make her very effective in a spot like this. And I thought that also she could sit perhaps a little bit closer now, getting the 7 furlong distance rather than that sharp 5.5. She's taken a little bit of money as well, the one Fancy Feline.
Right. And Fancy Feline goes out for Rachel Sells, who does have a fairly large string of horses here for the winter. My good friend and very talented horseman, Toby Sheets, running the barn there. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do see Rachel has some success with her runners. She owns Fancy Feline as well. And like you said, she has the races to be competitive here.
At one point, she was second. I'm having a moment. I don't know that we're ever going to see that 70 Spire speed figure again, but she's raced primarily on this circuit, so you know that she can at least compete and has in the past.
A big number on the horse that just beat her last time on the outside in Jackson Avenue at 24-1. There's my man Toby Sheets discussing game plans with rider Eric Cancel in the paddock. 2-1, though. I can't get over this with Super's Lucky Lady. A daughter of Super Estrella. The dam, she did win on the dirt, but I think overall better turf. And same thing with the sibling in Ladies Lunar Luck, who is a much better turf horse.
They love to bet these turf horses that are switching over to the dirt. And
they're
sometimes
just blind to the T and the box or the circle.
The green and the brown. It's two different things.
Yeah, pretty different.
No, but this happens all the time. We see situations like this, and I get it. You see form for certain horses, and maybe you don't love the form of some of the horses that are more experienced on this surface, but I take situations like this as big opportunities. We have a race on Sunday, the finale, where it's like the turf horse specialist switching over to the dirt, where it's like, you know, those horses are going to be so misbet in there.
We saw one for Christophe Clement, though, yesterday run very well. Smoky Eyes.
That
she
was a surprise.
Looked all turf, and she just is narrowly defeated as number 1 Fancy Feline kicks off the post right. Here's number 2 Levon.
A horse would have to improve a little bit, has been at the N1X level for a little bit of time.
Another price, but Hall of Famer Javier Castellano in the irons, Dashing Della.
This is a horse that's shown some speed in the past, able to finish second, but now steps back up in class.
Bug Rider for West Point, Long Live the Queen.
A horse that is trying this surface for the first time and could be forwardly placed if she takes to it.
As Luis Rivera Jr. as Burn Rosie Burn going by for Mike Maker. There's number 6 Clover Street. Mick said looked well.
And a big price now, but disappointed as the very short price favorite in her last 2 starts.
There's your favorite, Super's Lucky Lady at 2-1.
And as she makes this surface switch, I guess they're just betting the turf form. Not really one that I had some interest in.
Big price on Freddie Mo Factor. There's number 9, Better Humor Me. Big warm-up.
Just a horse that has some of that dirt form coming in, was able to finish third last time out, first time versus winners.
Peter Walder took the nightcap yesterday. See if he can do it again with Reigning Chick.
A horse that exits that same race where Better Humor Me was third, and she's now going third off a layoff.
Jackie Davis in the irons for Ronnie Breed with Jackson Avenue.
That number, as you mentioned last time, that 70 Buyer speed figure, a big standout for this horse, and she doesn't have the same New York form on this circuit to go back to as perhaps Fancy Feline does.
Jackie very familiar with Jackson Avenue, has ridden her now in all 14 starts. If you want to continue to play along with all the action here seen on our show, make sure you do so with your Naira Bets account. If you're not a member, what are you doing? Get over to NairaBets.com and use promo code MATCH200 to earn your $200 deposit match bonus today. As horses are commencing their warm-ups out on the track, we head over to JK, who, well, you got through the first leg, JK. Can we get through the second?
I hope so. I mean, that's the goal, Mags. If we can't, we can always play the pick 3, right? We talk about this often at Aqueduct, you know, because we're always going to be running on the dirt in the winter. You'll get some horses that show up that are turf horses or that have turf pedigree or look like they want the turf, and you have to make decisions on what you want to do with them. I think it's often, in a situation like this, I wouldn't have any problem with anyone trying to tell me they wanted to try to beat this horse because of the turf. It's just hard for me to do that because if you look at the Buyer speed figures for the 7 Super's Lucky Lady, 73 and 73 on the grass last 2 times back to back. So you like to think it's a pretty real number, Buyer speed figure. You look at all these other horses in here, their lifetime tops are 64, 57, 58, 66. There's one horse in here that's got a 70, a 73, but that was back in January. It's been forever since then. I just think that the 7 Super's Lucky Lady is better than these other horses. I'm going to use 3 in here, but I'm going to pick the 7. I just felt like that was the most likely winner on class alone, and hopefully Richie doesn't make me regret not having the 1 on my pick 5 ticket.
Well, listen, I can't really argue with you about the 7 Super's Lucky Lady. I do have my reservations about how she's going to handle the dirt. I went with the 1 Fancy Feline. Really elevated when she hit the track. I mean, she just seemed to get bigger and stronger and more animated, and I really love the way she warmed up. And I think she has races in her past that are good enough to make her very competitive here. She's going to have to work out a trip with Eric Cancel from the rail, but Fancy Feline to me is a horse that really stood out from a physical perspective once she started warming up. The 6 Clover Street, like I said, once she got the tack on, she kind of puffed up. Liked what I saw from her in the warm-up as well. And the 9 Better Humor Me, who I thought was quiet in the paddock, once she hit the racetrack, she was a completely different horse. I mean, she got her game face on. She got a lot more animated, got a big, strong warm-up from Kendrick Carmouche. It was a tale of 2 different horses. One extremely quiet in the paddock, but really showed her true colors when she got on the racetrack. I'm going to go with the 1, Fancy Feline. Let's see if we can work out a trip from the rail. I think, Sarah, you're with me there.
I know. It's let's see if we can get one home together. I think Maggie had a little bit of interest, too, and I told her to go away from our horse.
Fine. Too much weight. At least Eric's small. You know? So we'll see if JK can get through this sequence. He is on the 6, 7, and 9 in here. 6 would be a big payout for him with Clover Street. Big price on her. She was disappointing in her last, I thought.
She has dirt races in the past that win here, but those last 2, I just could not get past them, though. If you can forgive them, you're getting a nice price on her today.
Well, they're heading in line for the nightcap here at the Big A, and we head up to Chris Griffin for your call.
Better Humor Me. Here's Burn Rosie Burn. Reigning Chicken, Jackson Avenue. Jackson Avenue. Goes in. All set. And they're off. Long Live the Queen has early speed. It's Long Live the Queen right out to the front and is joined in between horses. There is Burn Rosie Burn and a hard scent Super's Lucky Lady. They fly early. Super's Lucky Lady won in the front. Had to work to get there, but will secure the front end. Is quickly up by a length and a half now. Burn Rosie Burn is going to take back in second. Couldn't keep up with that hot tempo. Long Live the Queen is starting to progress now. Starts to move forward, but is in that group there. Dashing Della is starting to move forward, and also there is Better Humor Me in that early fray. Those 5 now tightly packed. Freddie Mo Factor is inside up. Reigning Chick, who's starting to rally on. Here comes the run from Reigning Chick. Jackson Avenue's in that mix as well. Clover Street is now towards the back end of the field. Second to last, Fancy Feline. In the trailer, Levon. On the front end, it's Super's Lucky Lady. But here comes Burn, Rosie Burn, who's in pursuit, and Dashing Della at 22-1. Here comes the run from Better Humor Me from 4th. Is sitting right in behind the leaders, moves towards the outside. Levon, Maroon Cap is rolling from the back. Is going to be about 8 wide, though, as they reach the top of the stretch. It's Burn, Rosie Burn, who's in front. Dashing Della is ready to pounce, and Dashing Della has now put a nose in front. Battling on is Burn Rosie Burn. Grandstand side, here comes a big run. Clover Street's in there. Levon continues this sustained rally. Better Humor Me's in that mix as well. It's now down to these 2. Here's Clover Street to the outside of Better Humor Me. Clover Street, Better Humor Me down the line. Clover Street, got it. Clover Street over Better Humor Me. Then came Reigning Chick is there in a photo with Burn Rosie Burn. Also there, Levon. Final running time, 1 minute 24-3.
Clover Street, third off the layoff, finally puts it all together with a gutsy win. Trevor McCarthy aboard this time around for Mark Hennig.
And this was a horse that took so much money in both of her last 2 races, ended up going off favored in there and just did no running. But today was the day for her, and you got a very generous price. Ended up going off at 12-1 because everyone was so preoccupied with betting the turf horse, who did set the pace that ultimately did fall apart in here. But it was 2 dirt horses in the exacta, and you end up with the better priced one. And Jonathan Kinchin's hoping he can close this thing out now with a nice price in the second leg.
With a 12-1 shot on top over the 9 in here at 2-1. The 11 he was on it.
There we
JK,
go.
well done. As Clover Street gets the win here in the nightcap over Better Humor Me. As we'll get back over to Oaklawn, their first race of the sequence is just 7 minutes away. Horses are getting ready. We'll jump into it on the other side of this break. Stay tuned.
Number 1 is Mo Donegal by Uncle Mo. And they're off in the Remsen. As they come on for the finish, and it's going to be tight here in the Remsen. Mo Donegal. Mo Donegal bearing down on the outside. It's Mo Donegal and early voting, and it is Mo Donegal to win the Wood Memorial. And it will be Mo Donegal to win the Test of the Champion, the Belmont Stakes.
Now more than ever, it's time to get with the program. When shopping for your next race prospect, consider that New York breds start with an advantage. Our New York breds run for serious green. At Saratoga Race Meet, New York bred maidens run for up to $88,000. New York bred allowance horses run for up to $100,000. And New York bred owners can collect awards of up to $20,000 per horse per race. So get back with the program. Seriously.
Welcome back to the program here on FS2. We are proudly brought to you by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, check out americasbestracing.net today. It is America's Day at the races, and we are over at Oaklawn Park as their 7th race is on the track. Starter allowance going the 2-turn mile, 9 to 5 on a Aqueduct, a New York invader, and Can't Beat the Rock. But we kick off our post parade, Sarah, with number 1, Dance Some Mo.
That race two-back certainly fits with this group, finishing 3rd over at Keeneland, but really regressed last time with a drop in class, so not really moving in the right direction.
Looking to get back on track is number 2, Rocking Rocket.
And goes second off the layoff for the coach, Dwayne Lucas, a horse that had some good Oaklawn form around this time last year.
Number 3 is Luna Vieja.
Now goes second off the layoff, a horse that was a winner 2 starts ago at Churchill Downs for a $75,000 tag.
Number 4, Cannavale, will make his first start for the Matt Williams barn.
A horse that was second last time out and now stepping up a little bit in class.
Life on the Nile comes by way of Delaware Park.
Just got the maiden win last time out over a muddy sealed track in start number 16 and now faces winners for the first time.
There's always time. Can't Beat the Rock, your current 9 to 5 favorite, totally against the track last time.
He was, and this is just the horse to beat. I mean, ran second to American Law, ran third, 2 back to Tenebris. Class of the field.
Yeah, and Fighter Town going by there. He's probably faced some better in his last. His number 8 is Cobla Mas.
A horse that ran at Delaware last time out and has some races to get back to, but maybe not the most recent good form.
Lucky Boss stretching back out in distance.
I think this one's a little bit interesting towards the outside, getting that ground back after cutting back in distance last time. Those races 2 and 3 back certainly would fit, and he's a fair price right now at 8-1.
How good's your Spanish?
Un poquito.
Yo
también.
Luna Vieja. You know what that means?
Moon something? I don't know.
That's what I was going to guess. But for more on Luna Vieja, we go back out to Polly.
Yeah, and actually a very cleverly named horse being by Ransom the Moon here, Malibu Moon sire for Tom Amoss. And Christian Torres does get aboard. Edgar Morales, his main rider, riding at Fairgrounds. And, you know, a horse in here that, does this horse need the front end? Remains to be seen. You know, this horse has been a different horse since being gelded, I guess you could say, and has run a little bit better for Tom. But, you know, this is a horse that maybe needs the front end, and you worry about, is the 5 quicker, is the 1 quicker, is the 2 quicker? There's some horses in here that are fast, and I do think Luna Vieja, you know, she's going in the right, or he's going in the right direction. So I do like that horse at 7-2 at that value. The 6 is by far the horse to beat. Can't beat The Rock. You know, the last 2 races were very, very good. Now he gets to go around 2 turns. That'd be the one concern. You know, he's never really gone around 2 turns. It's pretty amazing that this son of Cantheros was in 1,000-yard races at Los Alamitos and is running an 82 buyer 9 races later in a 1-turn mile at Aqueduct, and is a 2-1 favorite at Oaklawn. That's actually pretty amazing to me. And he ran 3rd in some of those 1,000-yard races. You know, the only other horse, Mags, I thought was interesting in, I'm not saying that Fightertown or Cob Lamas can't hit the board. If you got to reach back, you know, Sarah said it, if you reach back to the 9s PPs, now a couple of Sippy's horses, Cipriano and Contreras, have not run well today, but this horse does have some back numbers, the 9 Lucky Boss. But I just think the 6 is going to be really tough in here. Can't beat The Rock unless Luna Vieja gets a very good trip under Christian Torres.
Christian Torres, last year's leading rider at Oaklawn Park, has a win on the card today. He is aboard Luna Vieja, but currently we see 2-1 on Can't Beat The Rock. I think Paul brought up great points that, I mean, I question him getting the 1-turn mile, but sometimes it's easier for horses to stretch, and not that he actually is a front runner, but it becomes easier because those fractions internally become softer running around the turns.
And I think that this is a horse that you have to really look at as that last race being better than it seems, because as you mentioned, he was against a racetrack where you did want to be forwardly placed and towards the inside, and he really wasn't either of those things. And we saw a horse in American Law get the win, a horse that's kind of had that second itis, but he had a different kind of ride that day because he was up close and on the pace, a horse that had come from further off of it, and he took control at the top of the stretch. So I think that those circumstances kind of make that second place finish look on paper lesser than it actually was in terms of the effort that you're getting. So I'd say 2-1 is honestly, the price
Generous.
could be shorter.
Yeah, I agree with you. Just a big question mark, you know.
And now it is.
Right, 9-5. And 2, you know, now he's back on a fast track as well, and we've seen David Jacobson take these horses from New York, ship them in there, and they performed well. At least the opening weekend they did.
And some horses he's dropped in class significantly, but this isn't one of those types. So I think that you have to pay very close attention to the kind of string that he's bringing over to Oaklawn, because they're running at whatever level they're in.
Can't Beat The Rock. Keep things going for the Jacobson barn as we head out to Matt Dinneman for the call. It is your first race, a part of the cross-country Pick 5 sequence from Oaklawn Park, the 3rd leg in.
And Lyroff. Cannavale sent hard for speed. Fighter Town's there. Rocking Rocket prominent early, but Cannavale a little bit quicker with Rocking Rocket. Those two together, Rocking Rocket keen to go on here, is rationing his speed, but has a narrow lead on Cannavale. They're on the outside, about a length off in the second position. Then a line of three. Fighter Town, Can't Beat the Rock, and Life of the Nile inside of that pair. Dansimo is running in the green jacket. He's in midfield now, 5 lengths off the lead, approaching the backstretch run. Luna Vieja is next. Second to last, Lucky Boss, and detached from the rest, that's Cobla Moss. Well behind. He's at least 20 lengths off the lead, maybe even farther behind than that as they charge down the backstretch. Rocking Rocket takes a hold of the bit and opens up to 22 4/5 seconds that first quarter mile. Moving right along here, Rocking Rocket leads by 2. Cannavale gets a breather right behind him, tracking second. Now Dansimo has made his way into third, passing Luna Vieja, approaching the forward turn run, and then Life of the Nile, Can't Beat the Rock's got to pick it up, is losing position, passed by Lucky Boss, and the others are in another zip code as they round the turn. This race will end at the 16th pole. So here they come, approaching the top of the lane to the short stretch run. Rocking Rocket trying to hang around, but after setting that fast pace, he's getting tired. Rocking Rocket loses the lead to Cannavale, who picks up the running on the lead and swings for home, clearly ahead. Lucky Boss continues to grind away from towards the back of the field, and he's charging fast. Here's Lucky Boss and Luna Vieja, those two battling it out. Luna Vieja inside, Lucky Boss outside as they come charging to the line. Lucky Boss, Luna Vieja, photo finish. Whoever got the best bob got the win, but it was tight. We won't call it. Luna Vieja inside, Lucky Boss outside with Cannavale third, and Cobla Moss from an absolute mile behind might have got fourth.
It is tricky to decipher that 16th pole finish, Sarah, as Lucky Boss and Luna Vieja came to the wire together. It was certainly down to a head bob.
Yeah, Matt Dinnerman doesn't want to call it, and neither do I. This is a close finish. Might have been inside, but
inside, but the angle's always tricky.
I feel like I'm never good at telling at Oaklawn, so not sure what we've got.
Well, let's check in with the master of photo finishes, Paulie Duca. Paulie, tell us who won.
This is really tough. And I'll tell you what, I mentioned this earlier. I'm going to call the 3-9. The 3 might have got the bob on the inside. But where Matt Dinnerman is, it's impossible for him to make that call. He actually has to go to the screen. The more I keep looking at this, it was a bob of the heads, and it's hard to get the wire right on the line. 9-3, 9-3, 3's down, 3's down. 3 is down on the wire. Yeah, it looks like to me it's 3-9 in the in-house feed. Very, very tight, though. There is an inquiry, though. I do not know what that regards, though, Max.
Paulie, the top 2 were bumping. We do see the 3 posted on top, but they were bumping, you know, coming down to the wire. And as I just jokingly said to Sarah, the 3, Luna Vieja, has a massive head. I think he has one of the longest noses, so I feel like he's always going to win a photo finish. Look at how long his head is.
Something to look for at a sale going forward.
Who cares about their legs? It's all about
Who's
the
gonna win
head.
those photo finishes? But we do have an inquiry going on here, and they were bumping into each other through the lane. Maybe I have some wishful thinking because I like the 9 a little bit, but Jonathan Kitchen wants to stay alive with the 3, who is posted on top.
Well, we'll keep you abreast of what transpires over in Hot Springs, but back here at Aqueduct, the nightcap is official as we saw number 6, Clover Street, get the win. Mark Hennig, Maggie Seidman of Seidman Stables getting the win with this daughter of Teufelsberg out of the Bellamy Road mare, Fortune Street, and got it to victory by Trevor McCarthy.
She had the past dirt form that would have made her very tough in here, and she got a nice pace set up today. It was just that her last 2 races had been really disappointing at short prices, but you got a fair price, a good setup, and third off the layoff ended up working for her. One of the only horses that was a true dirt horse goes off at 12-1 here, one of those misbet types of races.
And she keeps Jonathan Kitchen alive with the highest price of the 3 that he used in this second leg at 12-1, returning $26.80 over Better Humor Me. Well, as we will take a quick break here on America's Day at the Races, we will talk about the America's Best. Oh, I thought you were taking a commercial first. I guess not. But we'll talk about the race of the week. It is the Great White Way edition of the New York Stallion Series, and 2-year-olds sired by New York sires competing for $500,000 going the 7/8.
Big money on the line. We have a nice full field of 12 with 2 also eligibles. This is an interesting group that we have assembled in here, and BD Saints seems like the horse to beat for sure. Yet to win on the dirt, but ran really well last time out in the Sleepy Hollow behind El Grande O, his stablemate, and he did not have a good start in this race. He was really compromised at the beginning and made up some good ground while wide to finish second at the price.
And BD Saints, to be fair, in his other dirt start, I thought had a lot of trouble at the break up at Saratoga. Got the muddy surface last time, just couldn't reel in stablemate El Grande O. But as a lot of people were talking, a lot of trainers, I should say, they've been pointing at this race. And still, he's a bit green there, jumping shadows and what have you. And a horse that I've been interested since the beginning, Brick Ambush, his trainer Danny Gargan stating that he's been looking for this Stallion Series race for this son of Laoban since he began his career. He'll actually turn back from the mile victory last time out. As that'll do it for you, Sarah. Excellent job as always. Sorry
Thank
about
you.
the Pick 5 ticket.
I'll survive. It's okay. That's part of the whole betting thing. You lose a couple tickets along the way, and you win a few too. So
and Sarah will be back for more punishment with me tomorrow here on the program. We got to say goodbye to our friends over in Bally SoCal and San Diego. Still have the inquiry and objection over at Oaklawn, but stay tuned for all the action here on America's Day at the Races.
Charlatan is back, and he turns it on with 1/8 of a mile to go. Express Train moves into second. Nashville dropping out of it, and then Collusion Illusion. What a spectacular return for Charlatan, who will romp in the run-happy Malibu Stakes by 4.5 emphatic lengths. Charlatan, ultra impressive.
It's a new day for a new king.
Here comes Gem Mint 10 and now Dylan Davis, and they get ready to swarm these leaders. Gem Mint 10 is in front. Gem Mint 10 wins the finale.
Welcome to Adelphi Racing Club's unparalleled partnership experience. Exclusive access to the backstretch at Belmont and Saratoga, premier accommodations on race day, and of course, experience excitement like no other. Contact us today to get a taste of the Adelphi difference.
War Dancer, New York's leading turf sire again in 2023 with standouts like Barrage at Saratoga.
Here's Barrage with a final surge. Barrage got him.
Warsaichi dominant on the dirt at Finger Lakes.
Warsaichi has scampered well clear. Warsaichi all the way with the top spot.
And Danzig Queen on the tap of the surface at Woodbine.
And Danzig Queen will come away and win by a length.
Consistently producing winners on dirt, turf, and synthetic. War Dancer, proud to stand in New York.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Curlin's obviously one of the great sires today. He's currently the second leading sire. He's a horse that gets Grade 1 winners, he gets champions, he gets classic winners, so he's really, you know, in a league of his own. I'm very excited about Army Mule, off to a great start at stud as well. His first crop are 3-year-olds like Good Magic, and you know, he's getting stakes winners and a very good progeny that can really run from a book that probably wasn't of the highest quality, so we think that he's a very good sire in the making. McLean's Music, top sire of Jackie's Warrior, and other Grade 1 winners. Cantharos is having a big year this year. The Charlatans are foals this year, who were we're very excited about. Violence had a champion last year, or second Forte in Belmont, so he's had been great years. So we've really had a great representation right across the board on really all of our stallions. Good Magic looks like he can be special. The newest horse is Loggins. So Loggins is a horse that I thought had tremendous ability. He got hurt, and in his second start, he was just beaten a Forte, who I think is a very good champion. And he's a great horse to look at. He's well bred. He's got the right names in his pedigree. I know there's always a critique when horses have a limited career that you're bringing unsoundness into the gene pool, or those kind of things. But if a horse takes a funny step or hurts himself, for me that doesn't demonstrate unsoundness or a genetic predisposition for unsoundness. You take a funny step, you get hurt. That's bad luck more than anything. So, we've had good luck with horses like McLean's Music and even Candy Ride, who raced limited number of times. So, we don't specifically look for horses with abbreviated careers, but I wouldn't discount those horses either because something went wrong. So it's very rewarding when they separate from their peers and they look like they're going to be very important stallions. And the hope is always that you'll stand a breed shaping stallion like Curlin.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races, and thank you to our friends over at Hillendale at Alapa. That was a great update on their stallion roster by President John Secura. They stand such great horses as Curlin and his son, Good Magic. Welcome back to the show. Maggie Wolfnell now joined by Richard Migliori. And Mig, always a pleasure to have you on set.
Yeah, it's great to be here. You and I very rarely get to be on the same set together. Usually we're swapping reporting duties out there. And I got here just in time because once the sun goes down, it does start to get a little chillier out there, a little nicer up here.
Yeah, a little bit warm, but we did have some drama before Richie joined the show over at Oaklawn. A photo finish that was followed by an inquiry and objection, which led to the disqualification of number 3, Luna Vieja. And we saw Lucky Boss and Cipriano Contreras with Manny Esquivel elevated to the win. Now, I suppose it's that move right there, Meg, that caused the DQ.
Yeah, it looked like the first time he shifted ground is the most, egregious contact they had. They made a little more contact later on, but it was what happened at the top of the stretch, seemingly, that caused the disqualification. They're pretty strict at Oaklawn, stricter than a lot of other jurisdictions.
They are. And Manny Esquivel, with that elevation and placement, gets his second win on the card as Lucky Boss returned 23-60. As we check in with our man on the scene, Paul LaDuca, for more.
Yeah, I was actually got off actually talking to Christian Torres, and he was upset. He felt that, at the top of the lane, he got sort of turned sideways by the 10, and then they brushed again going towards the line. But the issue that he had is they didn't show anything to any of us. The in-house feed, nothing. Nobody even explained the disqualification, even after the race. Listen, nothing against Oaklawn Park, but I would think you'd want to show the fans what kind of happened. I still don't know what happened. I still have not seen a head-on, and they still haven't explained the disqualification, but they made the change.
Yeah, Paul, I totally agree with you. Not showing what the stewards are looking at on the in-house feed or even to us. Now, we're watching the standard replay of the head-on, and you can see it happening. But to not show that in real time, I think is a detriment to your players, to your fans.
Well, I think it leads people's imaginations to run wild with them. You have to have good communication, and you have to be able to explain it in a way that people understand it and are okay with it. Now, watching the head-on that we got to see on their in-house feed,
just now,
I believe it was a justifiable disqualification. And but again, you have to show that to your fan base.
Yeah, I agree with you. As it did go official with the 9 Lucky Boss over the 3 Luna Vieja, as that was the third leg in the cross-country Pick 5 sequence. Our sincerest condolences to Jonathan Kinchin, who would have been alive if that horse stayed up, but now he is gone. as we number 5 in career start number 21.
And came off of 3 consecutive seconds, so he snapped his second streak and gets the win. Did all the dirty work, put Colonel Vargo away, and was able to hold off Eternally Grateful, who finished resolutely, worked out a good trip inside out, turning back from a mile to 6 furlongs. And I tell you, the racing is so competitive at Oaklawn, and we see legitimate paces and horses fight for it, and another good race.
Yeah, it really was. That Burning Hunk of Love at 7-1 returned 1760 over Longshot Eternally Grateful. Colonel Vargo had to settle for third in a kind of a compromising position throughout, always having to fight to maintain that forward position along the rail.
He never looked really comfortable, and some horses just aren't as comfortable with that outside pressure, so he was always having to kind of be urged along. And you saw Ramon Vasquez try to switch out over heels mid-stretch. Sometimes you get a horse out in the clear and they find a bit more. A little bit dangerous, I thought, though. It kind of cut it a little fine coming out over heels.
Yeah, I had my heart in my throat a little bit. I mean, if you hit this pick 5 today, well done you, because these have not been all that logical of results, and either you've gotten there with very smart handicapping, or you've invested a bit and gone with a big ticket. Either way, best of luck as we head into the last leg. It is their featured an optional allowance of going the mile and a 16th. Some really old class horses in here. Looking forward to talking about that. But Command Performance, he'll go out for the Joe Sharp barn, won his last start at Churchill Downs. He'll be guided today by Christian Torres, who last year became only the second rider in Oaklawn Park's history to hit the 100-win mark. Of course, only done before by Hall of Famer Pat Day. Christian, though, really burst onto the scene and catapulted his riding career with a season at Churchill Downs to boot. But let's learn more about where this Puerto Rican native got things all started.
I used to play baseball, but I didn't see myself growing up much, so I decided to quit and just finish school.
Growing up in Puerto Rico, Christian Torres would watch television with his grandpa and cousins, which would eventually influence what sport he'd pursue.
I decided to be a jockey when I was, I can say, like 10 years old, because I grew up around horses and animals in Puerto Rico. And I grew up watching races with my grandfathers, and they used to take me to the racetrack too. I fell in love with it.
Christian moved to Orlando with his family to attend high school before moving back to Puerto Rico to attend the jockey school.
But I was in the exercise rider program. I wasn't like in the jockeys. They have the exercise rider and jockeys program.
Unfortunately, Hurricane Maria complicated those plans.
And I entered the exercise riders program each year. And that was when Hurricane Maria hits Puerto Rico, and I didn't finish it because the racetrack, we couldn't do anything.
Christian has had his patience tested with all the detours that have included stops in Pennsylvania, working as an exercise rider for 2 years.
Yeah, it's been a rough trip, but it's been worth it.
He'd win his first race in April of 2019 at Gulfstream Park. 2 months later, Christian's grandparents and cousins visiting from Puerto Rico watched him win in the United States for the first time, wearing t-shirts with his picture on the front and our champion written on the back. Torres closed out 2022 with a bang.
And now, returning to the Larry Snyder Winner's Circle, jockey Christian Torres.
He was the leading rider in 2 states, Arkansas and Oklahoma, helping him win Jockey of the Week honors.
We've watched this guy for a little while, and like I said, good young kid and good attitude. He's got a bright future ahead of him.
On December 17th, Torres rode at Oaklawn during the day, and that night he won a stakes race on the closing day at Remington to wrap up his first riding title.
Flew to Oklahoma, rode over there at night, came back the same night. It was really tough, but it was worth it. We got 2 wins here, 1 win over there. I love everything. I love the atmospheres. I love the track. I love the people. Since the first day that I got here, I just fell in love, and I love it.
Oaklawn's 22 and 23 meet will especially be memorable for Christian and his longtime girlfriend, Valerie. They were married on Valentine's Day in Hot Springs with their daughter, Ainoa, by their side.
With everything that is happening now, I'm just very blessed.
Well, that was a little background on Christian Torres. As we were just discussing, graduated from the Puerto Rico Angel Cordero Riding School, but not to be a jockey.
Yeah, interesting. They're very strict in the school about weight. And if they feel like you're not going to be suited to be a rider because of the weight angle, they'll put you, learn how to gallop horses probably. But you know what? Probably gave him even a better foundation. A lot of riders learn to ride nowadays without actually learning to gallop horses. And I think it's so important to have that feel, that affinity with a horse that will just complement the riding skills that you're going to learn by riding races.
Yeah, I rode for Hall of Famer Mark Casse in the mornings before commencing that riding career. But I couldn't agree more. I feel like that foundation of just getting on horses in the mornings or even getting on horses away from the track is so imperative to becoming a good rider and furthermore a good horseman.
Absolutely, and hands are so important. It's one of the things that riders, to me, sometimes lack. You need to have that feel, that connection with the horse's mouth, your reins or your brakes and your steering. And my wife Carmela says it best. She dressage, and you learn dressage, which she was very proficient at. Dressage is what Latin is to language. It's the basis of all riding. So if you learn to ride first and then learn to ride races, I think you're the complete package.
Yeah, dressage being based in what horses were expected to do in wartime when they were only used for that was what they were purposed for. So, yeah. Megan and I could give a whole history lesson on horseback riding here. That is the horse that Christian Torres will be aboard. Command Performance. More on him and the rest on America's Day at the Races.
The sun shines bright on Caraconte. His first crops of racing age are showing brilliance on the racetrack with a high percentage of stakes winners. His versatility is evidenced by winners on all surfaces across the globe.
Spandarella could not have been more impressive.
The sun shines bright on this value sire.
Here down 25, here down 25, here down. Thank you. Right here, 525,000.
Caraconte, standing at Gainesway.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with NYRA Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with NYRA Bets.
We watched his career. The speed he had was tremendous. So we bought 2 or 3, underbidder on several. Really nice volatile colt in his last.
Experience the adrenaline-pumping, suspense-filled action of the Sport of Kings no matter where you are with NYRA Bets. It's fast, easy, and secure. Download the app today and start winning with our lucrative weekly promotions, thrilling handicapping contests, and a one-of-a-kind VIP rewards program. Don't just watch horse racing, be a part of the action with NYRA Bets.
We watched his career. The speed he had was tremendous. So we bought 2 or 3, underbidder on several. Really nice volatile colt in his last sale that I think maybe $600,000. Beautiful colt.
Tom, $600,000. Thank you very much and good luck.
Perfect sire for 2-year-old sales, and so we'll be bidding against some of our peers, no doubt. So we're looking forward to it. We like a little competition. It's fun.
Volatile, victorious in the Vanderbilt.
Danzig was a Woody Stevens special that he called Seth one day after he was 3 for 3 and was fast and had a problem and looked like he was going to have to retire him, and said, "You need to stand this horse." And he talked him into doing it, and he turned out to be one of the premier stallions of his time.
Danzig's one of the legends of Claiborne, and his influence is far and wide throughout the thoroughbred gene pool today. And you'll look through and see a great influence of Danzig, and we're just trying to keep it going here at Claiborne with Silver State, War of Will, and Warfront. So we feel like we're in a great position, especially with War of Will and Silver State, to keep it going. We love War of Will's foals. Like I said, Silver State has a great book of mares, and he's going to have a really big chance of continuing that legacy.
The Danzig line 10 years ago, 15 years ago, people weren't sure what it was going to do. And it's still continuing on with Hard Spun and Warfront, who now the sons of Warfront are looking like they could be really okay on a number of fronts. So that was one of the reasons for War of Will, plus the fact he won a classic on the dirt with the Preakness, and then come back and win a Grade 1 on the dirt or on the turf at a mile. So he's a big, pretty horse. He's gotten well supported, and Mr. Barber's bred a lot of very, very nice mares to him, and the offspring are good so far.
Welcome back to the program. We're brought to you by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Some really good-looking horses on the roster there at Claiborne. You're watching America's Day at the Races. Maggie Wolfendale alongside Richard Migliore. We have Paul LaDuca out there on the scene in Hot Springs. And our feature from the Oval at Hot Springs, it's a good one, big. A lot of horses with some back classes. We'll kick things off with number 1, Command Performance, maybe the most overachieving maiden that we saw for Todd Fletcher way back when.
Yeah, making a nice impression on the track and in very good form.
Now, here's an old class horse, winner of $1.3 million, Silver Prospector.
Getting some class relief here, too, dropping into allowance race, although a salty spot.
First off the claim, Buck Moon.
Yeah, it feels like this horse is going to have to find that race from Hawthorne back in his form to be competitive here.
One that likes Oaklawn is Pat's Property.
Yeah, he's 8 times 1, 2, 3 from 9 starts at Oaklawn.
Tonka Warrior goes turf to dirt.
Another one that's got races good enough on the dirt. He certainly at a big price.
Been a long time since Hosier's run exclusively on the dirt, but he has some races to go back to.
We go back to that second place finish in the Rebel at Oaklawn Park.
Here's your favorite. I think a lot of Arkansas breds in 2-legged form, loving the 4-legged Arkansas bred Wetland Springs.
Yeah, for Short Leaf Stable, Jada and Anthony, winningest owner in Oaklawn Park history.
Full Screen deserves frequent flyer miles. Is number 9, Decision Maker, goes out for Tom Vanberg.
Yeah, another horse that, listen, at 9-1, actually doesn't win a lot, but has races that are good enough.
Kenny McPeak will send out the stretch out Frosted Departure.
Yeah, stretching out from 6 furlongs, should be forward, particularly from that outside post. Julian Peru has to try to avoid getting caught wide. Quick, just get back to the 9, Decision Maker. He has 8 wins. He just hasn't won recently.
Yes. Yeah, fair enough. With some big purses earned horses in here, and inching close to the $500,000 mark is number 1, Command Performance. He's now in the barn of Joe Sharp. This is his win last time out at Churchill Downs, where he pulled off a big upset.
Yeah, and arguably the best race of his life. I mean, he seemed like he just hit a really good form cycle, kind of paired up numbers, ran well at Keeneland, came back with this win here. Got to work out a trip from the inside. He's not a horse that has a tremendous amount of early speed, and there is speed in here, and again, we talk about it often. Very rarely do you get a false pace at Oaklawn Park.
No, as they'll go the mile and a 16th, and we will go out to Paul LaDuca for his thoughts on this 9th.
Yeah, to me, a little surprising betting board, honestly. I thought the 1 would be your co-favorite or favorite in here with the 7. When you look at the 1, what's been the change? I get it. The horse has been in the Joe Sharp barn, but this horse got gelded as soon as Joe claimed the horse. The horse got gelded, ran in a mile and a 16th at Kentucky Downs. So as the gelding, this horse has ran a 93 and a 95 buyer. So it's completely changed the 1's form around. So at 6-1, ridiculous price on the one. And you know what? The horse is second in the will pays to the 7 when it comes to pick 3s, and I think the price will come down. Now, Wayland Springs for Lindsay Schultz, she's already had a winner on this card. She's a monster trainer. She had an upset. Now, Wayland Springs is a classy type of horse, and is ran in the 100 buyer range. This was the Iselin with Jose Ferrer getting the job done. Came back, something went amiss in the Lucas Classic at Churchill's Downs. I don't remember really seeing him last year. He is a tiny bit washed out, and I'm trying to look in that backtrack or that replay if he is or not, if that's him or not. It's a little cool out, but it's not overly cold, but he has got a little sweat on his neck a little bit, but at 9-5. And then the 2, Silver Prospector, gosh, he made an unbelievable appearance. He's like a picture painting white. He's been laid up since May, and obviously working unbelievable at Fairgrounds. He actually opened up live in the betting board. But again, I can't stress enough that I just think the one's going in the right direction, and I think JK and I sort of have the same kind of solution here.
Yeah, look, I mean, I've always kind of been a command performance guy. Starting off in the career, showed so much promise, and then I think kind of left everyone wanting for some time. But one thing I will say is that since Command Performance has switched to Joe Sharp's barn, and it's nothing obviously against Hall of Famer Todd Pletcher, but when he switched to Joe Sharp's barn, he had some nice numbers. He was kind of still being the same horse that he was. Got a little bit of a break, came back to Kentucky Downs, tried the turf. That experiment didn't go well, but whatever happened that day seems to have kind of woken Command Performance up. Kind of started running those numbers that we were used to seeing, but we had always kind of thought or hoped we would see from Command Performance. And it just seems that he's going in the right direction now. I'll take the 9-2 on Command Performance. There's a lot of horses in here that I think can win. The 7 Wayland Springs I thought was interesting. A little bit too short of a price for me. The 8 Full Screen, another horse we would have been alive to in that cross-country pick 5. And look, I just feel like one of those 2 horses can win. But give me the 9-2 on Command Performance, who might be living up to those early performances we saw from him in his career.
Oh, and Richie and I just drooling over Command Performance as a gelding. It seems as though, as Paul was mentioning, he has kind of turned his career around. And, he was one that when I last saw him, Mig, which was actually his last start for Todd Pletcher, he just didn't look strong behind. And as we often talk about, when you geld a horse, it kind of alleviates that and allows the horse to actually move better behind, so therefore strengthens up their hindquarters.
It's interesting, right? They get a little bit lighter on the front end and a little bit more solid on the hind end. And watching him warm up, man, he made as good an impression as you're going to, from what we can discern watching him on television. He looked fabulous on the racetrack. I wound up on the 2 Silver Prospector, his back class. I mean, here's a horse that's earned nearly $1.4 million. He had Keith Asmussen for his dad, Steve Asmussen. And I just wanted to talk about Keith for a second, Maggie. He now has more wins as a rider than his father.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize that.
Yeah,
That's interesting.
Yeah, just the other day he passed his dad. And listen, Steve, if you look at the size of Steve, it's amazing that he ever rode at all.
How many does Cash have? If you had to roundabout guess.
In the 60s, like 65 wins now, I think.
No, I mean Cat. Do you remember Cash?
Oh, no, Cash. Well, listen, I was going to go there, though. I mean, thousands of wins. No, but Cash is one of the greatest riders in our era.
Yeah.
And he went to France and basically revolutionized the way race riders rode in France, much like Steve Cawthon did in England, right? But so it's in his pedigree. There's obviously a lot of great mentorship there. But what's impressed me the most about Keith Asmussen is he's done this without ever having the benefit of being an apprentice rider. He never rode with an apprentice allowance because of the weight. And again, to be able to make the weight. So he did all of his learning and development without the benefit of a weight allowance. And to me, that's what makes his accomplishments even more impressive.
Yeah, he looks so good on a horse now, too. I mean, he doesn't – before he looked tall and big, and now he's just figured out a way to stay so perfectly balanced over a horse. And thanks to producer Evan chiming in here, 923 at least in North America wins for Cash.
Yeah, I mean, Cash just tremendous. He won the Arc de Triomphe and everything. But yeah, I agree. Keith has learned how to layer his body and manage his height.
You bring up a great point, and one of the barn favorites, he'll be on here, Silver Prospector for his dad, Steve. Matt Dinnerman with the call of race 9.
And they're off, and a bad stumble for Wayland Springs. Went to his nose at the start and is at the back of the field. Frosted Departure has a lot of early speed today. Buck Moon alongside. Frosted Departure taking control from the outside post, getting to the rail for Julian Leparoux. And Frosted Departure leads from Buck Moon, who's on his heels. Full screen taking the second spot. Buck Moon back in the third position. Pat's Property is next. Silver Prospector a little bit eager down on the inside. He's fifth with Tonka Warrior. A length and a half clear of Wayland Springs and Hosier. Command Performance has Runner beaten. That's Decision Maker, who's the trailer, 10 lengths off the lead. Up the backstretch, Frosted Departure leads the charge. A length and a half clear of Full Screen in the second spot. Down on the inside, Buck Moon third. Pat's Property is next, being joined by Silver Prospector, who wants to go down on the inside. His advancing position will be level fourth. Tonka Warrior's there as well. And just going down here, we had two horses go down. Number 5, Tonka Warrior, and number 6, Hosier. Both runners on their feet. I think one of them clipped heels, and that's what happened there. But we have two riders down on the course as they round the far turn and approach the quarter pole. Frosted Departure still on top. Full Screen right behind him in the second spot. Silver Prospector has yet to be let loose. Looks like he's got a lot of run. He's going to get outside Silver Prospector as they come down the stretch. Frosted Departure with a furlong to go. Still going strong here. Silver Prospector asked for his best. Tries to get up into second, but Frosted Departure's got it won. Frosted Departure, gate to wire. And please continue to hold all tickets. There will be a steward's inquiry here. Frosted Departure wins comfortably clear. Silver Prospector second, Full Screen third, and Buck Moon was fourth.
Frosted Departure here gets the win easily, but our thoughts with Tonka Warrior and Eduardo Gallardo, as well as number 6, Hosier and Chris Landeros. Will be back after this break.
loved racing. My wife, Tammy, always called it his vice. It was a hobby for him, but he loved it.
Longtime owner and racing enthusiast B. Wayne Hughes acquired Spendthrift, a storied thoroughbred farm located outside Lexington, Kentucky, in 2004. He expanded his involvement in the sport, switching his focus from the racetrack to the farm.
And then when he bought the farm, everything changed because he couldn't help himself because he's a businessman. He was a genius, really. First time I came to the farm, it was not in great shape at the time. It was quite a fixer-upper, so I was not that impressed, frankly. And Wayne set about bringing it to where it is now, which is worlds away from where we started.
Hughes knew how to run a successful business as co-founder and CEO of Public Storage. He made the Forbes 400, a list of the wealthiest people in America.
He was so innovative, he was disruptive. He was not interested in how things were always done. He wanted to do something differently, sometimes just to try to see if it was worth it. And then he was always willing to be wrong. He was a champion for the little guy.
Eric Gustafson learned about horse racing from Hughes. Eric would join his mentor and father-in-law in the day-to-day business, striving to return Spendthrift back to its glory days.
And then we have what we consider the best stallion in the country in Into Mischief. I remember being at the track with Wayne at Hollywood Park when he won the Grade 1 Futurity. And Wayne turned to me and said, "Oh, we got ourselves a stallion." And neither one of us, obviously at the time, could have known what that meant.
On November 1st, 2022, Hughes' vision of building a fan-centric destination became a reality.
Wayne died unfortunately, it was a year or so before we got to open the visitor center. We were in the construction process. We were thankful for the opportunity to name it after him and an opportunity for my wife and I and the rest of us, the team at Spendthrift, to honor the man that made it all possible.
Located between the Farm Stallion Complex and the main office doors is the B. Wayne Hughes Visitor Center. The 7,000 square foot, 2-floor facility features a trophy room, artifacts, and racing's memorabilia. The second you open the door, there's Authentic's Kentucky Derby glory built into a colorful display in the floor. You'll also find the Spendthrift collection in the gift shop with apparel that'll rival your favorite campus bookstore.
I think he would love it. He would be enthralled with it. He'd be really proud of it. And then he would say, "How much did this cost?"
Oh, thank you to our partners over at Spendthrift Farm as they are sponsors of our show. It's America's Day at the Races. It's Frosted Departure pulling off a big upset here, though covered in the cross-country Pick 5 sequence. A race that was marred by a fall, though. Frosted Departure ridden to victory by Julien Leparoux and trained by Kenny McPeak, gets a win over Silver Prospector and Full Screen. Richie.
Terrific job by Julien Leparoux to clear from post 10, a horse stretching out from sprints, and a race that actually did show up with a soft pace. As much as I talk about fast pace, like 48 flat for this horse was pretty well within his scope.
Yeah, a horse that was a stakes winner sprinting and stretches out successfully here, though one of his fastest races in the Pat Day Mile. Well, the 50-cent payout returns nearly $24,000, Richie, with nearly double-digit horses winning every single leg.
Good handicapping if you had it.
Yeah, excellent. Kicked off with Elysian Meadows, who's by far the shortest price. But for more on the accident that occurred down the backstretch in this 9th race at Oaklawn, we check in with Paul.
Yeah, an unfortunate situation here. And, you know, listen, I talked to every single rider in the race, and it was just one of those unfortunate situations, Megan. I know you've been in these where a horse just clipped heels, and it was the 5 in here, Tonka Warrior. Now, the 5 went down, and then after that, Chris Landeros, who was on the 6th, Hosier, he kind of got the chain reaction. Now, Chris just came out of the ambulance, and he's really sore in his left hip. And it just shows you these guys in the jocks room, they compete against each other. The first thing he said is, who is on the 5? Is he okay? Eduardo Gallardo is on his way to the hospital right now, the local hospital. We might have a delay for this last race. As you know, you have to have an ambulance on the racetrack for a race, so we'll see how that goes. I don't know if we have multiple ambulances. I will say this, though. Tonka Warrior and Hosier, the horses both got up and were okay. It was just a thing of clipping heels. So that is the good news. Prayers for Eduardo Gallardo, and Chris Landeros just very sore.
Paul, thank you so much for that update. And you could kind of see it unfolding down the backside. It looked like Silver Prospector got very strong with Keith Asmussen and therefore put the 5 Tonka Warrior in a precarious position right behind him.
Yeah, not a lot of pace on, so things kind of got really jammed up
Right.
there. And all it takes is just one tip. People don't realize that they're racing within inches of each other. If a horse oversteps a little bit or a horse gets eased back up into their face, and it's not like you have power steering and power brakes. These are 1,000-pound animals that want to run, and all it takes is one tiny little misstep, and that perfect symmetry of a race suddenly comes apart. I'm glad to hear both horses are okay. Chris Landeros back to the jockey's room, and we'll hope to hear good news about Eduardo Gallardo. I agree with Paul, and not because I did it, Maggie. Toughest men and women ride day in, day out, no season, make weight, and have to live with that perilous danger that is a part of a jockey's life.
It's so true. And some of the most athletic individuals that compete in professional sports.
Absolutely. And listen, there are other sports, boxers, wrestlers, they have to make weight, but usually there's time between bouts, right? So a guy can get up more to their natural weight, a man or a woman can get up more to their natural weight, but then have time to pull it off the right way. You have to do it 365 days a year. There were times when I was really young, I would leave the jockey's room on a Sunday night or a Monday night, because we used to race 6 days a week in New York, and by the Wednesday when I had a ride, I might be 8-10 pounds over my riding weight, and have to get back down, and I could always leave a little lighter by Sunday, but then I'd have to go through it, and I learned that I had to stay consistent, and I needed to keep my weight at the same, because it was just too hard to be on that yo-yo, riding it up and down.
Well, too, as you made the analogy with boxers and wrestlers, they're in specific classes that lend themselves well to their body type. There's set weights with horse racing, and you don't get to go into a different division.
No, not at all. And listen, I think they've done a really good job of slowly raising the scale of weights, that it's much better for riders. But you're always going to have people, no matter how high you raise the weights, that go, well, I can get down to that. If a guy that can be 140, now they're up to 130, so I can get down to 130. So right now you might have guys that can do 120 that naturally are about 130. I'm 145 pounds now, and I rode at 114.
145-pound club.
Yeah. But, I mean, honestly, I look at myself,
crazy.
and I don't know how I ever was able to do it.
I don't know either, because you are still pretty fit looking, that's for sure. As we do have one more race to bring you here on the program. It's the nightcap from Oaklawn Park. 16-claimer Non-2 Life going the 6 furlongs, a full field of 13 actually going postward with, the 1A is out in here. Looking at that, but likely to see a jock change on the 5 in here with Eduardo Gallardo, as we heard Paul saying, on his way to a local hospital. But we still have more New York bred and sired horses coming up tomorrow. The New York Stallion Series 5th Avenue Division for the 2-year-old fillies is coming up, and we'll bring you more on it after this break.
Connect, a Grade 1 winning millionaire, now making his mark as a sire. With Grade 1 winner Rattle and Roll in his first crop, along with Grade 3 winner Hidden Connection, and stakes winners The Alice Look, and Implicated in his second. With a full book bred last year, there is more quality in the pipeline. Connect, a proven sire in the making, standing at Lane's End.
Keeneland, a horse will always be measured in hands. Hands that see, that sense, that speak. Hands that hold our sport to a higher standard. Not for our sake, but for theirs. For the love of the horse, for generations to come.
At the rail, Country Grammar, resilient, fighting back, retaking the lead, and it's Country Grammar to win the Hollywood Gold Cup. Country Grammar getting the upper hand, draws alongside, and Country Grammar with his Dates with Destiny in front, a length and a half. Country Grammar won the Dubai World Cup. Spine-tingling, jaw-dropping, awe-inspiring, Secretariat-like.
Into the final furlong, and long distance takes charge. Long distance here with an impressive performance, opening up by 5, leaving the front runner Financial Lady behind in second. Electric Shock fighting for third with Mickle Benny. How about this winner? Long distance wins by a long distance. She won by 8.
Might recognize that guy in the irons as long distance, and our very own Richard Migliori take the 1998 edition of the New York Stallion Series, 5th Avenue.
She was a nice filly, had a lot of ability. I probably rode her too hard. I cringe a little bit when I see myself override one that wins easily like that. But of course, then the Stallion Stakes was $100,000. Now it's $500,000. I'm not complaining. I was happy to win it. Sure would have been nice if it was worth a little more money.
Inflation, my friend. Inflation.
This is true. This is true.
No, it is quite a nice purse. $500,000 here on the line as the fillies, we talked about the Great White Way edition, the fillies will go postward here. And again, a completely open race as we do see Solo Shot installed at 6-1 on the morning line. Disappointing effort in the key sets. And Jeremiah Englehart, her trainer, saying that maybe she didn't like the track. I don't know, but they couldn't come up with an excuse. She's training well heading into this one. But before that, sorry, this is George Weaver. I mentioned Jeremiah Englehart. George Weaver, before that, this filly had 2 blowout wins, including this one in the Ladyfinger.
Yeah, I mean, you know, obviously something went awry last time, but she's been working steadily now for this, and she already tipped her hand how much ability she has. Again, this is a really good, tough, competitive race. I'm a little bit interested in the 8, Walk With Me, who I thought was ultra game on debut.
Walk With Me, yeah, was very game for our good friend David Duggan, as we will also check in with My Perfect Mistake in here. She's coming off the back of a maiden victory as well, although earned a slow figure in that win for Rob Atras.
Yeah, I mean, it was a slow figure, but she did everything properly, and, you know, she probably could take a step forward. You can see she was a little bit green, trying to lug in a little bit when she switched leads, but when she got to her right lead, she went on about her business. I agree, slow figure, but you can't blame a horse for doing what was asked of them. She beat everybody that she had to beat to be victorious, and sometimes, especially young horses, they kick clear from a field and they feel like their job's over, so you don't know how much maybe more is in reserve there if she had something to challenge her, something to make her run faster. But again, a good competitive race, a few horses that could take a step forward here off of you know, their first starts.
She will also face the horse that ran second to her, Tourgette, for Horacio de Paz in here. And look, people are not afraid to run first-time starters, as Linda Rice will send out E. Stormy in this one here as a debuter. Rudy Rodriguez sending out ones in the boys division. John Terranova with a first-time starter and elite status. So really looking forward to them. They're always fun races to handicap.
500,000 reasons to take a shot, especially if a horse has shown some ability. Now, if you look at the New York bred foal crops, about 1,000 foals last year. Now you shrink that gene pool even more for just horses that were sired by horses in the state of New York. You have to take a chance if a horse has shown any ability.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But that won't stop us from getting to today's 10th race, the nightcap at Oaklawn Park, claiming 16-2 lifetime, going the 6 furlongs. And just a scratch of the AE, field of 12 going postward. Oh, and the 5 was a late scratch because they could not find another rider.
Yeah, probably. A lot of jurisdictions have what they call an auxiliary rider, a rider that's just in the room, gets paid a day rate.
Do they still have that? Because I feel like when I'm watching these races and there isn't a rider in the last race, then oftentimes...
Yeah, I knew in New Jersey they did for years, and I was at Thistledown to ride the Ohio Derby, and the guy was cleaning up, janitor, and a horse needed a rider in the last, and he got undressed, changed, and went out and rode the last race. Yes.
Wow. I'll never forget at Belmont this past season, Junior Alvarado took off for some reason. I don't know, Bruce Brown, first-time starter, and John Velasquez, they caught him coming out of the shower, and he rode it, and he won.
Pickup mounts win.
They do. They're lucky. As number 1 kicks off the post parade, Boogie Bodie.
Yeah, it's just going to have to run a bit faster. It comes in from Indiana Grand.
Coming in from Louisiana Downs is number 2, Hell Yeah.
Again, deep closer, going long. How's that going to translate sprinting?
Another long shot, number 3, Unbowed. First-time gelding, though.
First-time gelding, we see that can be the most significant equipment change.
Randy Morse often having good Oaklawn meets. Is number 4, Unstable Prince, goes back to the dirt.
Yeah, back to the dirt and drops in class. Actually, has some dirt races that would be competitive here. Big price.
Yeah. Number 6. Still need to fill that in on my form. That is a scratch. Number 6 is Captain Jack. Short price.
I think it makes a lot of sense. Horse has speed, sprinting, and his face better.
Number 7, On His Toes, Passion of Joe's.
On His Toes, ran for 7,500 last time at Remington. Making a nice impression on the racetrack.
He's pumped up, ready to rock and roll. Is number 8, Keith Asmussen will be aboard this one. First off the reclaim, I should say, for his dad, Little Frappuccino.
Yeah, I like when horses get reclaimed. It tells me that horsemen saw something or liked something about a particular individual.
As number 9, Immoral for Kenny Jansen, Walter De La Cruz.
That horse has been showing speed at FanDuel, should be forward.
Number 10, Big Price, 38-1 on Directional.
Yeah, it just feels like this horse is going to have to improve to be competitive.
Another short price, though, after him, number 11, Master of Arms.
That drop in class, Ron Marquette has done well at Oaklawn. Heck, he lives practically on the grounds.
I know. Yet to get a winner, though, in this young meet as number 12 rounds out the field. That's Lord Grantham, your 5-2 favorite.
And you get Randy Zimmerman, who is a rider that likes to put horses in the game. He's usually very aggressive.
Back in for the 16, Lord Grantham, second off the layoff, protected, though, first off the bench over at Churchill Downs as we get out to Paul LaDuca for more on this 10th.
Yeah, very interesting 10th race here to close out the card. And there's a lot of carryovers in the pick 5, but it does not carry over. Oaklawn's one of the jurisdictions in Arkansas where they just pay out. There's going to be no carryover. There's a lot of 4 out of 5s. I want to say almost half the field. 6, 8, 11, and 12, I want to say, are all paying out in the pick 5. The rest are 4 out of 5s, but it's not a carryover. So make sure you check your account or your tickets to make sure that you might have 4 out of 5. I'm starting with Captain Jack. You know, what Mig said is right. You know, this is a horse that was in for 40. And, you know, that race in for 40 almost took that field, not gate to wire, but was just right off the pace and just got beat by Debate that day. I went back to Churchill Downs and just ran over his head. And that was in a really tough spot. Broke really bad from the gate and didn't do much. If he can refer back to his other races, he's a major player in here. And those Churchill Downs horses, like Mig said, have just been hot. They really have. You know, Lord Grantham on the outside, the 12, I think is interesting. Chris Hartman horses have fired. Here's another horse that he let out again. And I think this horse will try to get to the front end with Ramsey Zimmerman. We've already seen Ramsey almost cause an upset on opening day, and then he caused an upset today by putting a horse on the front end. So look for the the 12 with some speed. And then the 11, Master of Arms. Listen, I like the 6 the best. The 11, Master of Arms, is a horse that if he can just break out of the gate and just break with the pack, he's just such a major player in here. He just needs to mind his gate business. And I know you like him a little bit as well, JK.
Yeah, look, I really like the 11 Master of Arms quite a bit. And for a couple of reasons. I think if you look at his last 2 races going 6.5 furlongs, the way that those races were run, it suggests this horse is going to appreciate cutting back to the 6 furlongs. I love outside speed at Oaklawn Park. I feel like it's the trip that wins the most often. And if you look at the race at Keeneland, I thought that race was outstanding. The amount of pace that this horse showed early, probably too much pace, suggests that number is actually a little bit better than it might look. I think that Master of Arms, it looks extremely tough in here, and I would much prefer the 5-2 on Master of Arms than the 2-1 on Lord Grantham.
Nobody really liking Lord Grantham in here. Second off the layoff for Chris Hartman. Could he have just needed that last start too, Meg?
Yeah, and again, he showed speed, kind of middle moved, and maybe got a little bit tired. I think you said something that's very, very, incisive to point out. He was protected off the layoff. So obviously they had this in mind. They said, okay, we're going to get a run in him, and then we're going to go to Oaklawn and we'll get the money.
Big purse.
Yeah, big purse. And he does have speed from the outside, and Randy Zimmerman is a guy that's aggressive. Horse right inside of him, Master of Arms, Paul brought up that this is a horse that doesn't always break particularly well. There's a number of reasons why horses don't break well. Sometimes they're just not very strong behind. They're horses that don't push off properly, right? Horses don't pull themselves. They propel themselves. Or they're a bad actor in the gate, and they're constantly moving, shuffling their feet. So you think about a 1,000-pound animal, when those doors open, if they're moving their feet, they've got to reset.
Yeah.
That split second means they didn't break as well. And horses are like water. They'll tend to flow to empty space. You break a half blink slow, you're probably going to take some body contact at best, and at worst, get squeezed back.
And as Paul said, if Master of Arms can break, he's a player, but when he doesn't break, he often doesn't show up either with his best effort, but certainly gets a drop in class here today. You went with number 6, Captain Jack, probably lesser exposed, but definitely dropping in class, which makes him attractive.
I just thought the drop in class was significant here for a horse that I think will sit a good trip. I think he'll be right in behind the pace.
Son of McCracken, as we get cracking out to Matt Dinnerman for the call of the nightcap from Oaklawn Park.
Second to last. And to the outside, Lord Grantham. Here's Lord Grantham. We're ready to go. And they're off in the finale. Boogie Bodie caught an alert getaway. Passion of Joe's has speed. Captain Jack firing forward. Master of Arms. These 3 across the track. Master of Arms is fresh and quickest. Leads the way narrowly. Captain Jack's right there. Passion of Joe's off of them. Couldn't keep up with the top pair is third. Joined by Unbowed to the inside of him. Between them, Boogie Bodie is next. Little Frappuccino's racing with Lord Grantham. They're side by side. 2 better than Directional. Then Unstable Prince, he's running in the third last spot. Immoral second to last. And Halyaz the trailer as they round the far turn. Master of Arms going at it with Captain Jack. Master of Arms goes better than Captain Jack, sent along to keep pace. Now Master of Arms being asked for more. Captain Jack sticking to him. Unbowed in the third position, getting outside for the final 3/16. Boogie Bodie is next. They come down the lane. Master of Arms still with the upper hand. It's just a narrow margin though. Captain Jack fighting his second. Master of Arms coming to the 16th pole. Captain Jack still going at it with a 16th to go. Captain Jack inside now turning away. Master of Arms and Captain Jack and Manny Esquivel. That's a triple for Manny Esquivel today. Second home, Master of Arms ran well second. Boogie Bodie third. And fourth might have gone to Lord Grantham. He was involved in that photo with Unstable Prince.
Well, as you heard Matt Dinnerman said, it's a big day for Manny Esquivel as Captain Jack tenacious on the rail and able to eke out the win here. Second off the claim for Sippy Contreras.
Yeah, it's a perfect description. Tenacious. He was under a ride from the midway of the far turn, under pressure from the 11 Master of Arms, and just refused to yield. I think the drop in class certainly helped a great deal. And we'll end the day with America's Day at the Races exacta. Me and Paul on the 6 and JK on the 11 to get it done.
Yeah.
Fairly logical result.
Well done, guys, as Boogie Bodie would complete the trifecta, and not much noise from the 12 Lord Grantham in here, but that will complete racing from Oaklawn Park. But we will bring you official prices and results on the other side of this break. Stay tuned. It's America's Day at the Races.
Warfront. This son of Danzig ranks among the world's elite sires. Ranked #1 by percentage of stakes winners, graded stakes winners, and Grade 1 winners. No stallion has a better strike rate. Warfront is the sire of over 100 lifetime stakes winners, including some of the sport's most talented runners both at home and abroad.
Verstappen. War Bomber in front. War Bomber's won the King Edward.
SEAL Team takes the lead. SEAL Team! Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Adelphi Racing Club, offering a truly personal thoroughbred ownership experience.
Again, I'd have to point towards the success, which has been great, but also the communication and having firsthand access to all levels, the trainer, the barn, get to go see your horses. It's been great.
We're not just a syndicate, and our members aren't just investors, we are partners. Contact us online to get a taste of the Adelphi difference.
Welcome back to the program, which is brought to you by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime with your Naira Bets account. Just head on over to NairaBets.com. Into the winner's circle for number 6 in here, Captain Jack Sparrow. No, not that version. This guy here, yeah, as our producer Evan just said, Billy Joel, of course. But the son of McCracken out of the Harlan's Holiday Mare Great Family gets the win for Cipriano Contreras and Manny Esquivel for his 3rd on the day, and Sippy 2nd.
And very resolute, tenacious victory by Captain Jack. He looked like that quintessential bicycle horse. If you weren't pedaling, he wasn't running, but he kept finding. Very game performance, outgamed the 11 Master Arms, and Boogie Bodie finished well, just missed place. Good finish there. Martin Schwann is a rider that I was not familiar with that I'm starting to be impressed with.
I had to do my research as well, native Peruvian. This is now his third stint in the States. As he said, he's gone back and forth and he's had great success in Peru as of late, winning many great group races, but wants to come back here to North America and win the grade ones, unquote.
Well,
and has got the attention of Brad Cox and other top trainers.
If you get attention of a trainer as successful as Brad Cox, other trainers are going to fall into line because they go, well, if he's good enough for Brad Cox, for years it was Wayne Lucas. If Wayne Lucas started riding you, suddenly it opened up other barn doors. Yeah. When top trainers give riders opportunities, it just gives them a lot of confidence, other trainers to give them opportunities.
Well, coming up tomorrow at Stakes Action from Oaklawn Park is the Tinsel $200,000, going a mile and an eighth, kind of kicking off the campaign that they have for handicap horses. You know, it all culminates with the Oaklawn Handicap in April, but that is the third stakes on our program tomorrow. Taking a look at the field, and I mean, you have like the blistering speed of Strong Quality, who's coming off of a big win at Churchill Downs. You have Speed Bias, another speed type of horse. So it looks like we'll at least see a honest pace in this one.
Yeah, I mean, it appears so. And just what you talked about at the beginning, though, they have such a comprehensive series for every division at Oaklawn and kind of building up to, you know, the final one, which is always the main event. But listen, Strong Quality is 4 for 14 lifetime, has never run at Oaklawn before, has been training at Fairgrounds. You know, Mark Casse ships the horse in. Florent Giroux should be forward. I mean, couldn't win this race any easier, could he?
No. That's for sure. It did feel like oftentimes in the Churchill Downs fall meet that speed was at a premium. Horses tended to win when forwardly placed, but I've always kind of been a fan of this horse. I know he doesn't maybe win that often, but I love his brilliant speed. I love how he does. If he often gets in a fight, and sometimes he is able to prevail, kind of a dogged type of horse. As we'll also check in with his main rival, the other speedy animal in here, and that's number 4, Speed Bias, for Ron Moquett, coming off of a narrow defeat at Keeneland last time out.
Yeah, ran tremendous in the Fayette. Just beating the neck, was third, fought all the way to the wire, was very game. A lot of contact in the lane here too, huh? These horses were really kind of leaning on each other. He's down on the inside, fighting every step of the way. Nice game performance from him. Trouble I have with Speed Bias is 2 wins, 5 seconds. At Oaklawn, 1 win, 3 seconds. And he looks like a horse that likes company, right? Because it looked like he was going to get swallowed up, and then he joined in with his company. And some horses want to be herd leaders, and some horses are just happy to run with the herd. And that's my question about Speed Bias.
He's a very handsome son of Uncle Mo out of Greatest Stakes winning Damn Hot Summer. But maybe the answer to the speed equation is one that's going to come from off of it, and that would be number 7 here, Dennington, for Ken McPeek. Julien Leparoux will be in the irons. He's coming off the back of a win too at Churchill, maybe going against the way races are being run there and closing from well off of it.
We saw Julien win a stake last weekend for Kenny McPeek with the horse with that final run, and with the speed seemingly signed on here, maybe this horse gets that similar kind of trip and makes the last move. You know, this is a horse that has only run at Oaklawn once, was third. Kenny McPeek seems like he's off to a good start, and Julien Leparoux too. Now, Julien Leparoux is a very talented rider. I feel like he was kind of in a funk for a while, and a lot of times it's about confidence. And it's not that you forget how to ride. It's not that you don't have the ability. You have to have confidence in your ability. And it feels like recently Julien's stringing together some success. I feel like his confidence level is really rising.
It could be winning the Mutat Mile.
It could. I mean, no, but it is. It's a big race, and to go there and get it done, right?
Yeah, I mean, being kind of the only out-of-town, so to speak, rider to come there and dominate the way he did.
Absolutely. And again, it's about believing in yourself and relying on your ability and not getting down on yourself, because when you start second-guessing yourself as a rider, you're in a downward spiral. You can't second guess. There's not enough time out there. That instant you second guess yourself, an opportunity, a moment is gone.
Well, we'll be looking forward to the tinsel at Julien Leparoux having a good day today.
I like the way you
as
say that,
well.
by the way.
I love saying it because they corrected me. Him and his wife Shay said that's how you say it. So I like it. A little French flair. Make sure you join us tomorrow where coverage starts at 2:30. Big A and Oaklawn again as Elysian Meadows goes 2 for 2 in his young career. So far taking the feature here at the Big A. And then that formidable duo of Julien Leparoux and Kenny McPeak teaming up with Frosted Departure in a gate-to-wire winner in the feature at Oaklawn. Thanks for joining us today on America's Day at the Races. For Richard Migliori and the rest of the crew, I'm Maggie Wolfendale. Have a great night.
War Dancer, New York's leading turf sire again in 2023 with standouts like Barrage at Saratoga.
Here's Barrage with a final surge. Barrage got him.
Warsaichi dominant on the dirt at Finger Lakes.
Warsaichi has scampered well clear. Warsaichi all the way with the top spot.
And Danzig Queen on the tap of the surface at Woodbine.
And Danzig Queen will come away and win by a length.
Consistently producing winners on dirt, turf, and synthetic. War Dancer, proud to stand in New York.
RaceLens is the most in-depth product in horse racing with unique features found nowhere else. True odds, predictive analysis, and pace projection. RaceLens. It will change the way you follow horse racing and take your game to the next level.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.